Everybody ready? Let's do it. Hey, WWE, I got a question for you. What's your return policy? Oh, I'm only kidding. I will appreciate and cherish these even more.
So long, man. Have a good rest.
Fuck you! Help me! Taking maybe one step more. I'm really lost to my next friend.
Every Thursday night, you ask the questions, DT gives you his answers. No holds barred.
It's Q&A with Don Tony. This is your chance to speak your mind and be heard about anything.
Q&A with Don Tony. And now, your host, Don Tony. Don Tony. Don Tony. Don Tony.
Chat room, what was that movie that they built a fire and the fire was kind of lame? And then I don't remember if it was a giant explosion. And then somebody said, now that's a fire. Now that's a fire. Anybody remember that movie? Now that's a big bunch of releases. Wow. Boy, didn't think we were going to be talking about that tonight. I'll tell you this much. One thing is for certain, you know who is, I shouldn't say it like this, but I will. You know who is kind of happy about these WWE releases tonight? All of the fringe element on the AEW side that is trying to blame the West Coast for AEW being on at 5 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. And the ratings still went down 15% because last week it was on at 5 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. All attention drifted away from AEW to the releases. Now, look, it is very serious. We will talk about it. And I will open the phone lines very early tonight. So if you want to call in and talk about it, what release gets you the most upset, the most surprised? And maybe if time permitting, we'll still crack open that 2000 box of Goldberg cereal. Thank you to Marty. Every time I hear the Marty name, I think of Back to the Future. Marty he came through. I get the Goldberg cereal. There we go. Sealed in the box. And believe it or not, I have almond milk. I was going to use oat milk. It's still sealed also. And if we have time later, we'll open it, and as long as it doesn't smell like shit, we'll pour it in a bowl. Like my bowl? We'll pour it in my Finn Balor bowl, and we'll try it. You know, I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight for a little while. I know everybody and their mother right now is doing a podcast because of the releases, and honestly, I don't blame them. This is a big deal. Some of the names not expected at all. Anybody that's been a long-time viewer or listener to my shows know that some of what I'm going to say tonight is a broken record. It's a broken record. And each time this happens with a big burst of releases, you get the same people that either are just too stupid to understand how the corporate world works, how a billion-dollar company works, and more importantly, how WWE works. And I swear to you, in no way, shape, or form am I defending WWE tonight at all. Defending them and understanding them are two totally different things. And you know for a fact, and I'm going to keep the vulgarity as much to a minimum as possible tonight, but you know that there are 1,000 podcasts out there to draw people in, they will just yell at the top of their lungs, F WWE. F Nick Khan, F Vince McMahon. Now look, you know, this is the best I could come up with my Vince McMahon memorabilia. It's the best I could come up with. And we have a wrench. That kind of was an epic fail. We cracked the horn off. Is that what they wanted to do tonight? Off with his head. Off with... You're fired. Shut up. Come on, man. How old are these people? When you think like you own a bodega or run a bodega, all you will do is run a bodega. This is $1 billion company. I don't agree with a lot of their decisions. I don't agree with it. But you have to understand it. If you understand it, it's still upsetting. Of course it's upsetting. But it should not be surprising. You go back 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 wasn't too much in the releases. But there were years you had 20, 30, 40 plus wrestlers released. Crazy Cruiserweight and others out there that hate when I talk about the economy, got to bring it up tonight. WWE had a conference call today, and they released their latest quarter earnings. They generated $255 million in revenue. Hasn't it been about 3 or 4 weeks straight that I've been saying on this show that over the last 3 months, their stock went up $800 million? As far as the shares, $800 million. I honestly, and I ask all of you out there sincerely, because we're going to have an educated conversation about this tonight. Sure, we're upset, but, you know, just yelling FWWE all night long, you know, doesn't really do anything but just spark on people's emotions. But think about this for a minute. You know, WWE is a $1 billion publicly traded company. They're an entertainment company. Ask yourself, if WWE did this in 2020, 2019, 2018, 17, 16, 15, not too much 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, since they've been a publicly traded company, they answer to the investors, they answer to the shareholders. They don't answer to the IWC, the internet wrestling community, that is saying everybody should balk WWE. Everybody should stop watching it. Yeah, so more people could get released, right? Nobody should buy the tickets. Yeah, so more people could get released, right? You know, they're not going to answer to us. They're going to look at their bottom line and understand this, please. Understand this. I am not defending WWE. I try to understand it. You're going to realize tonight the shows out there that try to make sense of this, and those out there that don't want to make sense of it. This way, every time this happens, they can just yell, piss in the wind, FWWE, they suck, this is terrible, Christmas is coming up, pandemic, this and that. They intentionally keep themselves ignorant because there is a huge audience out there that play on those emotions. Period. $255 million in the last quarter. We're still in a pandemic. And if anybody has noticed, sorry for those that don't like the financial talk, we're in the middle of inflation. The economy is going to shit. How many months have we talked about, you buy a shirt from AEW, WWE, New Japan, with the shipping, you pay $35, $40 in many cases for one shirt? Everything is going up in price. And the reason why ticket prices start dropping right before an event, because they'd rather make some money than make no money at all. You know, they know the merchandise revenue is at an all-time high. Why? Because the prices are higher. So the economy is getting worse. Gas is $5 a gallon. In California, it's $8 a gallon. You want to buy a steak, you're going to pay $40 for one steak. Eggs, dairy, everything is going up in price. My fiance has 3 Yorkies, and all 3 of them depend on something called Denamarin, and it's been sold out on Amazon for about 6 months. You go on eBay, it normally costs $21 a box. People are selling it for $80. What does this have to do with all of this? A lot of people fear that the economy is going to get much worse. So what does WWE do? They are micromanaging a billion-dollar company. They are cutting any fat, if you want to call it that way. They are cutting any fat that they deem necessary. Now, you do have some exceptions. Aleister Black, moronic decision to let him go. Braun Strowman, in my opinion, dumb decision to let him go. Some of the names today, absolutely stupid decisions to let them go. You have to ask yourself something. Ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, this happens every year, especially that we're in a pandemic, especially that the economy's going to shit. Why do wrestlers keep signing and re-signing with WWE? Why do they keep in interviews, even outside of WWE? Oh, my goal, everybody's goal is to always go to WWE. Just because the internet wrestling community gets emotionally upset at this and say, oh, WWE is no longer the ultimate goal for all the wrestlers out there. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? Herbert Doherty, much love. Yes, we've had this discussion before. Another day in the business world, nothing more. Well, it's not just another day in the business world because a lot of people lost their jobs today. But guess what? Most of those wrestlers understand the risk you take when you sign with a billion-dollar publicly traded entertainment company. Everybody knows the formula of Bruce Pritchard. Everybody knows what Vince McMahon likes and dislikes. He's gonna puke. He's gonna puke. It's been going decades. We know their style. Should be no surprise. When some of these wrestlers sign, they sign because, number 1, they truly believe that they can adapt to the WWE style. And you really don't know until you're there, until you see how the sausage is made, everyday operations. Sorry, a lot of these journalists online don't know how the sausage is made. They get one person that'll text them on the phone, hey, I just saw this, I just saw that. And hey, there's my sources. But as far as the everyday operations, and it proves it to you because none of them take this stance. None of them take this stance. Now, as far as the names that were released today, obviously a few of them are disappointing for me. And I don't have any notes prepared. I have no papers in front of me. All I have in front of me is the list of names. I will say this before I go any further. As much as I don't want to see Karrion Kross released, as much as I don't want to see Bearcat Lee released, as much as I don't want to see Ember Moon released, look at the roster on Raw. Look at the roster on SmackDown. Look at the roster on NXT. The way it currently is right now. And you tell me where any storylines are turned upside down as a result of these releases. You tell me what feuds have to change major course because of these releases. The fact of the matter is, right now, it's not Karrion Kross's time. And let's also be honest. The social media community, I've always said this. If you have people that you support them, period. Of course you express criticism because a lot of people do want to hear the criticism because they want to get better. But you know how WWE makes the sausage. And they put this ridiculous mask on Karrion Kross, and everybody online, all they were infatuated with was putting this guy down, telling everybody how much he sucks, that this is ridiculous, it's awful, he looks like a clown, blah, 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 blah. And every time you look it up, that's all people say. He wears the fucking mask for 15 seconds walking down the ring. He doesn't wear the mask during the matches. He walks to the ring with the mask on. Then he takes it off. Oh, but he's got suspenders. Gee. Oh, Demolition and other wrestlers back in the day had it too. Big fucking deal. Everybody that got emotionally triggered because the Viking Raiders were called the Viking Raiders. And I remember that day when they called the Viking Raiders for the first time. And I said, you know what? I'd rather call them the Viking Raiders than the Viking Experience and not get pushed. You got to change a little bit. You know, you work a TV show, you work a movie, you have a very serious actor and decide, you know what? I'm going to take this movie role. I'm going to look a little bit like a clown. And I might act a little bit like a clown. That's the movie role that I want to take. And if the movie is halfway decent and the acting is good, you know, people will say, you know, it was kind of corny, but you know what? He entertained the shit out of me. You know, you cannot have your own template. Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, everyone else, unless you work for them, you're in the creative, you're not going to say, I don't like the suspenders. I'm going to clown Karrion Kross with the man. I'm going to clown Keith Lee with Bearcat. I'm going to clown everybody. And that's how we'll get Vince McMahon to change his mind. How many years does this have to happen when you realize that if you truly support someone, you support them when they take a role for an entertainment company that may not necessarily be. Can you imagine if social media was around when the Bushwhackers first signed with the WWF? You know, if anybody out there doesn't know about the Bushwhackers wrestling career before they went to the WWF, look up the Sheep Herders. You imagine Twitter if the Sheep Herders came out and just took somebody licking everybody's heads. Hey, yeah! You would be like, these are clowns. They wouldn't have survived. You know, you have to understand this is the form of entertainment. This is the form of entertainment that WWE is. I brought it up yesterday. Just in passing, and I got about 10 emails tonight saying, people don't think about that. WWE programming is TV PG. AEW programming is TV 14. What does that mean? It's not a product meant for children. WWE is PG. A lot of their product is intended for children. So, of course, demos are going to be different when it comes to those two products. But you also need to understand, because WWE programming is more about every character looks like a Marvel character, like Stephanie McMahon said today in a conference call, and there's going to be things that are going to be more kid-friendly and this and that. You think Reggie would be doing a 24/7 thing like this if he was in AEW? You kidding me? It wouldn't happen. So you know what the WWE style is. You know what their formula is. Yet people still keep signing. Yet people, a lot of these wrestlers, you think, even if they hated the gimmick that was given to them, look, man, you worked for me, and I'm an entertainment company. Unless I don't bully you, unless I don't sexually harass you, unless I don't go racial on you, if I tell you, put on this clown wig and put on this nose and walk down to the ring and just be goofy, if I'm paying you to do that, even if you freaking hate it, you do it. That's your job. And when you have this loud fringe element online just totally destroying any chance of somebody, should it be that surprising when some of these people are let go? Now, as far as, we'll wrap up Karrion Kross, okay? As far as Karrion Kross goes, this is what I was going to say before. Some of the wrestlers on this list, it's not their time. We would love it to be their time. Trust me, I know there's a lot of you out there that are like, why are they giving Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode these matches? Why are they still using this person? Why do they have this person? Why can't this person get on TV? And I agree with you in a lot of ways. But the fact of the matter is, for some of these wrestlers, it's not their time. And no matter how much we yell or complain, there's nothing that we could do about it. You know, you buy their merchandise, you buy their stuff. You know, look, yesterday I had someone say to me, oh, you're such a Mox fan, yet you don't even own any of Mox's shirts. I wore a Mox shirt yesterday. You know, I mean, I try to support wherever I can. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these wrestlers, would you rather them stay on the roster and be barely used or be jobbed out? Or would you rather see them, if they're still young, get an opportunity, work somewhere else, and then 2-3 years from now, when let's say Finn Balor is no longer there, let's say Kevin Owens is no longer there, let's say this wrestler retires, Jeff Hardy retires, this person, Rey Mysterio retires. Now you got a couple of spots that might open up. Look at Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre should be the perfect example of someone who was very surprised, got his release, and reinvented himself. And he didn't take any shortcuts. WWE brought him back, and he's one of their top performers in the company. And you remember WrestleMania? Remember SummerSlam, especially when we got back, regular fans? Remember SummerSlam? There were people online hoping that Drew McIntyre got booed out of the building. Hoping. Why? I don't get it. If you don't like a particular wrestler, and there's a lot of people that do, focus on the people that you like instead of putting down the people. Ember Moon. I can't tell you how many people that have been clowning Ember Moon for a very long time. And now she's released, and I watched some of those same clowns, and if you think that I'm exaggerating or if you suspect someone out there, just do an advanced Twitter search. A lot of them are not that sharp to say, oh, I got to delete my old tweets clowning her. I mean, suddenly, oh, it's a travesty, it's terrible, it's this and that. Right now, a lot of these wrestlers, there's not an opportunity to be used for the amount of money that WWE was paying. If WWE was paying, look, I don't know the exact amount of money Jackson Riker makes, but I will tell you Jackson Riker makes a very small amount of money. You have somebody who's released that is making 6-7 times the amount of Jackson Riker. There's no way WWE 2021, with a pandemic still, with the economy going to shit. When people keep saying to me, oh, how come AEW still won't go to the West Coast? You add up how much it costs for travel and rent and certain things. Of course, a lot of wrestlers pay their own way, but still, you realize the kind of expense that's involved now compared to like 2 years ago before the pandemic. Somebody's got to pay for that money. And yes, when you go back to the $255 million, if this economy gets worse and things get way out of control, WWE, it's called forward looking. Anybody out there that has ever paid attention to corporate, there is something called a forward looking statement. That is them preparing for the future. They foresee, they project. Right now, you look at the names involved. Anybody right now turns those storylines upside down? No. When you tune in on Raw, you're going to miss Keith Lee? Absolutely. You're going to miss Karrion Kross? Absolutely. You're going to miss some of these other wrestlers? I don't know. So, sure, if some of these wrestlers are making chump change, they have a better chance of staying on the roster. So, before we get into the other names, I'd like to give a couple of shout outs, a couple of super chats that I know popped up on the screen. Cruiserweight says Scarlett is 30, Ember Moon 33, Franky Monet 38. We get it. You don't pretty much, think anybody over 30 should be wrestling on the women's side. Jessi Kamea 33, Mia Yim 32, Nia Jax 37, Katrina Cortez mid-20s. And I agree with you, Cruiserweight. I give them a little bit of a pass, though. There were a lot of people that saw the name Katrina Cortez and thought it was Elektra Lopez from Legado del Fantasma because, the names are similar. Yeah, it's not. If anybody wants to know Katrina Cortez, she was the young lady that was on TV once. I think she teamed up once or twice with Sin Cara. You might remember she had the mask on also. That was her. It was not Legado del Fantasma. But look, and yes, look, I will tell you in a minute who surprises me the most of these releases. But some of these names, I don't know if they'll be back. I don't know. Franky Monet, 38 years old. Unfortunately, there is a shorter shelf life when it comes to women's wrestling. My personal opinion, Franky Monet never got a shot. Do you remember? And thank you very much, Tall Man, for the kind words. That's why he comes to me, giving a fair, sensible answers. As you are hearing tonight, I am not defending WWE for these decisions, but I understand it. And I know understanding it is not as entertaining and it's kind of boring. And I'm sure a lot of you out there would rather just see people out there going, these motherfuckers, they don't. And why do they have all these people this and that? No. Just so you all know, and I'm not making this about me, just so you all know, I signed a contract today. The big thing that's coming with these shows, I signed a contract today. I got it sent to me about an hour before the releases started popping out. And I was so happy, and I wanted to screenshot part of it and show you all tonight. And then the releases happened. I'm like, I kind of feel bad talking about, that they sent me the contract, 14-page contract. I had to go out and buy insurance tonight to protect the shows. And thank you very much. Thank you. We'll celebrate next week with that. We'll celebrate next week. But the thing is, for some of these wrestlers, especially on the women's side, the shelf life is a lot shorter. And Franky Monet, and this is what I was going to say, and I'll get into the other super chats in a minute. Do you remember about 3 weeks ago when Mandy Rose started getting involved in the picture with Raquel Gonzalez, like 3-4 weeks ago? And I said specifically, and I know a lot of you remember exactly what I'm about to say, I said, why does it feel Franky Monet, remember she was around the Robert Stone brand and everybody was basically dissing Robert Stone and he was becoming like this, slave to them. And I said, for some reason, it feels like somebody in WWE said, you know what? Instead of Franky Monet and her female entourage, I kind of think that Mandy Rose, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, I think they should have that spot. And it felt, after she had that match with Raquel Gonzalez and how abrupt and how short that match was, it felt like somebody in WWE said, you know what, never mind. Franky Monet, 38 years old, she worked her effing ass off to get to this picture. But she's 38. She only had 5 or 6 matches in NXT. And it almost feels like WWE said, you know what? We've been investing in Mandy Rose for 5-6 years. We think that Mandy Rose in Toxic Attraction will fit that role better than Franky Monet and her entourage. He said it about 4 weeks ago. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but it sure feels that way, and I think a lot of you feel that way as well. Kristen is asking, why hire Franky Monet in the first place? I'll answer it like this. Do you remember before SummerSlam when they had the releases with Bronson Reed and a few others? And the one thing I kept saying on the show when we covered the releases, I think Mish was on with me that day, and I said, in about a month, you're going to see WWE go to different states, and they're going to have tryouts, and they're going to hire 10 new people. And what did they do? They went to Las Vegas, I think, and they signed like 8 people to developmental deals. Right now, and I know I have quoted this song in this situation before, and I'm sorry I got to do it again, but it's like the Janet Jackson song, What Have You Done For Me Lately? For the foreseeable future, the days of hiring someone and giving them 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, and then they do virtually nothing for a year or 2 years, and especially if they're a little bit older in age, those days are pretty much gone, unless they think they have something unbelievable, some gem that they know they got, like Eric Bischoff used to say about Goldberg. We knew he had something. We didn't know what. Those days are gone. Franky Monet was done with Impact Wrestling. She had the opportunity to go to WWE. WWE grabbed her. Why wouldn't you? She's one of the top female wrestlers now to not be under WWE contract. The problem is you now bring her on the roster and you do the whole entourage with her dog and, you know, incorporated with a Robert Stone brand. And guess what? It's not generating much of a buzz. The quarter-hour ratings are not all that spectacular. In my opinion, they never gave her the time to develop and, get acclimated with the WWE formula and with the fans, period. Fans are not going to tune in simply because that's Taya Valkyrie. I mean, what she went through in Puerto Rico and all these other places, and oh my God, she finally made it. Hearts, so happy for you. Yet the ratings are pathetic. Social media will make you sound like you're $1 trillion. But if the ratings aren't there and the attention is not there, and they put out a shirt and it sells next to nothing, WWE is going to have a very, very short attention span to someone like that. Oh, you got to move on to someone else. Now you relaunch NXT and you go back to its roots, like I've been saying since last year. They went back to their roots to be in the developmental program. Obviously, they did not feel that Franky Monet could be for the women's division of what Tommaso Ciampa is for the men's division. Now, I know everyone out there wants to try to tell you why Ciampa is champion over Samoa Joe, but the fact of the matter is, and we were right on this, Samoa Joe, when he came back, everybody that he went face-to-face with pretty much were older guys, established guys. Stare down with Kross, stare down with Cole, chokes out Cole, stares down Gargano, stares down Pete Dunne. Older, established main event guys. So Samoa Joe was already at this level that it felt like, okay, it doesn't feel like it would make sense for Samoa Joe to interact with the young guys of tomorrow. Ciampa, though, that was his whole gimmick. Remember when Ciampa came back and destroyed Jake Atlas? And Ciampa was talking about that this young locker room, this disrespect, and he's old school and he's from a dying breed. His gimmick, his character, gelled perfectly with all the young stars of tomorrow. That's why you see him a little bit with Braun Breaker. You see him a little bit with Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, and others. Sure, you tease a little Gargano because you want to appease all your fans out there. Not every fan out there is into the younger stars, not named Tony D'Angelo, if you know what I'm saying. So you look at Franky Monet. She became available from Impact Wrestling. Oh, my God. That Taya Valkyrie. Look at her history. They bring her in. And they can't seem to find the perfect person for her to feud with, the perfect scenario that kind of mix. It's not her fault. I don't know whose fault it is. But again, just because someone becomes available doesn't mean you snatched him up. I mean, Tony Khan, with all due respect, we had in Queens, New York, this big storyline with Brian Pillman Jr., and Griff Garrison, and all that stuff. And their names, mention it all. You look at the Acclaimed. Oh, they're on Dark. You look at some of the names that get a little bit of attention, and just when you think, oh, they're going to finally start elevating this person, then they disappear for a month and a half. Why? Oh, we got Fish. Now everybody wants O'Reilly. The Undisputed Era, to me, is in the top 5 of the best factions in the last 20 years. A lot of people would say to me, DT, what are you, fucking nuts? But the Undisputed Era dominated at NXT for years and years and years. Yet everybody used to always say, look at Kyle O'Reilly. He looks like a geek. Who's going to get behind that? Bobby Fish with the Monopoly-looking mustache. He's 45 years old. Everything was about Adam Cole and pretty much Adam Cole. If you really think about it. And because Roderick Strong a little bit, but everything was about Adam Cole. So now all of a sudden, like I said, you see all these people out there,
That was bullshit.
Chad Gable, Kyle O'Reilly, all these people, they're telling, sources tell us that, the people closest to these people, they're telling them, get out of their WWE contract, get out of there while you can. Talking about, if you are not released and the WWE is making big time numbers, big time revenue, you don't ever hear anybody reporting that WWE is making all this record profits, but yet they're paying their wrestlers like shit. When was the last time you ever heard someone report that WWE pays their wrestlers peanuts? Peanuts. You don't hear anybody ever saying that. Why do the wrestlers keep signing with them? Why do they keep re-signing with them? Zelina Vega, she gets released. Everybody jumps on Zelina Vega's back. Oh, broken heart emoji, 2 broken heart emojis, 50 broken heart emojis. I'm going to cosplay as a broken heart emoji because the SAG-AFTRA, the ambulance chasers, we had a productive meeting. And what happened? She realized that, what's that guy, the politician? What the hell's his name? I'm drawing a blank right now. All these people that said they were going to help Andrew Yang. She realized, she's like, all right, everybody, now we got to form a union. Now we all got to step up. Now is the time. It's our moment. Yeah. Retweet, tweet, like, retweet. Are you with me? And there's nobody behind her. She gets another opportunity, and everybody calls her a moron for joining back with WWE. Now she gets a little bit of a push. They give her Queen Zelina. She wins a match with Carmella, probably gets a tag title shot. And now everybody is like, are you fucking kidding me? This is what you're going to put up against Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley? So what do you want her to do? Do you want her to just cosplay? Do you want her to be what the old NWA TNA used to be? Put her in a cage and let her just dance sexy with sexy outfits. What is Zelina going to cosplay in a cage this week? If you are in that company and you click, you make money. A lot of these wrestlers make money when it clicks. So anyway, that's why Franky Monet, it just didn't click. It didn't fit in. Now, you see Mercedes Martinez. Another one. Mercedes Martinez, 40. I've been spoiled watching Mercedes Martinez for 20 years. WWE doesn't need her to be a trainer. Mercedes Martinez could very well go back there in a couple of years and become a trainer. Some wrestlers who are now getting into their 30s or maybe even 40s, they want that one last run. Matt Hardy and others. I don't want to be a trainer yet. I still have a few years that I could still wrestle. They love to wrestle. This is their life. So some of the people that were released today doesn't mean that they won't be back. And if they do resign, every single one, I'm not saying for any of you out there, but for those people out there that are going to be tuning in, that are writing all this horrible stuff about the evil WWE, I dare you that if any of these wrestlers that were released today end up coming back to that company a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I want you not to welcome back. I want you to go on their social media and say, what are you, fucking stupid? Do you remember what they did to you a couple of years ago? They're going to do it again. Why do you keep going back to that? It's like a bad relationship. You know that the guy's going to cheat on you. You know he's going to get abusive on you. What are you, fucking stupid? What are you going to do? You watch. And then the person comes back, gets released again, and then I fucking told you. You go on Twitter tonight, YouTube tonight, just write, I told you, WWE. And you'll see about 1,500 podcasts tonight trying to get your viewership by saying, I told you this person's going to get released. But yet they don't understand every time releases happen. Oh, WWE, they got record profits. They just made $50 million with Saudi Arabia. They keep Goldberg on there for 3 matches, but yet they release all these people. You told nothing. Because they still either refuse to try to understand how WWE operates or they don't want to know. So they can have an excuse to go F WWE. You know, behead Vince McMahon. You know, wherever I put it. Oh, I chucked it before. So that's the deal. Now, let's go through this list. Nia Jax. Very surprised. Very surprised. My contract. I have repeatedly on this show said that I am a fan of Nia Jax. I like Nia Jax. I don't like not only how she was reckless, but how she came across like she didn't give a shit. That's the one problem I had with her. But I truthfully felt that she had improved over the last year or two and was actually better in the ring. For some people out there, Nia Jax, could never be won over to them. Nia Jax is 37 years old. Nia Jax, I don't know where she goes from here. I know a lot of people like, not elite. Notice they're not superimposing her on that, all elite thing. Nia Jax surprises me. Because Nia Jax, as a huge monster, that could help get a lot of the younger stars of tomorrow over. Nia Jax was getting paid a nice amount of money. They were not using her like they used to. I don't think when they did the storyline with Shayna Baszler breaking her arm, I don't think at that time they knew that they were letting her go. If you think about it, Shayna Baszler could kind of be like the Randy Orton now. Randy Orton did stuff to Big Show, did stuff to Ric Flair, did stuff to, I think, Mark Henry and others, or teased it. He did stuff to Matt Hardy. And you see, like, people are gone right after it. Shayna Baszler, Eva Marie. Ow, my arm! Nia Jax, squealing like a pig. A month later, they're gone. So I am... Cruiserweight is saying that some people are reporting that the reason why some got released was because they were not vaccinated. Look, I don't know what to believe. But let me tell you something. Cruiserweight, as ridiculous as this sounds, that could be partially true. Because I don't pay attention to politics pretty much anymore. I mean, I'm aware of certain things, and more local than anything else. But didn't they just say something that now companies that have over a certain number of employees, like everybody's got to be vaccinated or everybody's got to be, tested this and that. So it could be part of it, but I will say this. I personally believe, in my opinion, why I don't think that is 100% fact. It could be in part because WWE would had to have sent a memo to all of their employees. Anybody who is not vaccinated, you have to get vaccinated if you want to be part of our company. Not one wrestler, anonymously or not, has furnished to any of these sources out there any kind of memo, email, screenshot, anything that says of the sort. So it could be partially possible, but I'm not sure about that. Could be, but good looking on that. Good looking on that. Before we get into more on the list, because I have quite a few things to say, DJ White Sox, thank you very much for the $5, the super chat. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I will wait until the press release is issued, which I think will be next week. And then I can let you all know who I signed with and for how long and what you could see coming on the channel. All new intros are coming. New artwork is coming. And we're going to, have some, what's that called? Oh shit, I can't remember. You like have other like podcasts on, like collaborations. You'll see some collaborations going on. We're going to do a show that's going to feature just calls, and we will be taking calls soon, very soon. So be ready. Don't forget tonight also, we got the Demon Balor. We're going to give away the signed photo tonight. Everybody that took part in the contest will pick a winner. I have not looked at the ratings predictions from yesterday for the Moxley book. I'll announce that in the community section tomorrow, and I'll make it also official on Saturday's show. But thank you very much for that, White Sox. It's very cool. And much love, Big Armada. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Very generous of you, my friend. Most of these releases being big names on the indies does not surprise him. WWE's made it clear that they're more interested in actually developing homegrown talent and not so much plucking stars from the outside the company. In a lot of ways, you're right. But when you look at some of these names, for example, Nia Jax has been there for quite some time. Ember Moon has been there for quite some time. Just to name a couple. Some of these other wrestlers, Harry Smith. Okay, Harry Smith is one that they never ended up doing anything with. Somebody there had some great ideas of what to do with Harry Smith. The problem is when you have 2 hours of SmackDown and you have 2 hours of NXT, and yes, you got 3 hours of Raw, but you got Survivor Series coming up. And everything's going to be about Raw versus SmackDown. And then after that, you got December. Next thing you know, the Royal Rumble. And then the road to WrestleMania. Where does Harry Smith fit in this equation? You look at some of these other names like Karrion Kross. With all this coming up, you tell me how he's going to leapfrog Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Big E. And I could go on and on and on with Raw. Between now and the Royal Rumble, how does he leapfrog? Who is he going to defeat to get on this big momentum? Jackson Riker every week? So a lot of these wrestlers, when you realize you go to Survivor Series, then December, then the Royal Rumble, then the road to WrestleMania, remember I said this. I will bet you that at least 4 to 6 of these names, or at least a half a dozen of wrestlers who were released in 2021 are back shortly after WrestleMania next year. It's cheaper for them to give someone a 30-day no compete when they probably weren't going to be used much in those 30 days anyway. Cut your losses. You see it in baseball. Somebody gets released. He had 3 years left on his contract. Well, yeah, you cut your losses. Now that spot is open for someone else. So someone doesn't fit the bill. For example, Jeet Rama. We just saw Jeet Rama lose to Solo Sikoa. And with all due respect to him, WWE's looking at him like, what are you going to do with him? What are you going to do with him? They let him go. If Jeet Rama could work somewhere else and turn into a star with some name value, well, guess what? Year or two from now, maybe a spot opens up, like I said before. But you are right in a lot of ways. Franky Monet, they just don't have the right formula to get her. Mia Yim is another one. You feel bad. Look, I will say this, and thank you, Armada, again. Very generous of you, my friend. I will say this. I feel bad for every single person that was released, because you never want to see anybody fired from a job. Any one of you tuning in, none of us want to ever see any of you post on social media, I lost my job today. Nobody wants to see that. We need to also understand, when they sign with WWE, there is an expectation. There is a certain style. There's a certain, formula with WWE. And if you truly think, I got no shot, then what ends up happening is, do I go there for a payday, get a little experience, maybe, by happenstance or luck, something changes and I make it? Or do I just pass up the opportunity completely? A lot of these wrestlers know what the hell they're doing in the ring. They are talented, without a doubt. The problem is, for some wrestlers, it doesn't click. I will never forget the promo that Adam Cole cut on Karrion Kross. And I always got pissed off when people used to make fun of Adam Cole's size, his arms. I just thought it was ridiculous. Now everybody makes a big deal about Adam Cole and AEW, and that's cool. But when Adam Cole cut the promo he did on Karrion Kross, you remember what I said at that time? And obviously, for obvious reasons, Jesus Christ, I showed it joking around at the beginning of the show, and I'm not doing this so people could say, oh, you're cool. I have the first ever autographs of each one. See, number one? All right, I won these in an auction. And trust me, they were not cheap. But because of my support for them, I felt, I obviously wanted the Karrion Kross one more than anything. Chris Warren, welcome to the family, my friend. But then I saw the Scarlett. I'm like, they can't be split. You got both number ones here, the first ever autograph on a figure. So I got them both. But the thing is that you support people, but you also have to, I think it's very respectful to criticize people too. And Adam Cole made Karrion Kross look like a deer in headlights with that promo. And at that time I said, Karrion Kross will improve. He will get domesticated, get used to the WWE roster, the style, the way you talk. You look at AJ Styles, perfect example. AJ Styles, look at his promos when he first came into WWE. Look at Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson. Look at his promos when he first went to WWE. And you look over the years how it clicked. They got it. And they nailed it. That's why when you see these reports going around, oh, WWE, they didn't want Daniel Bryan anymore. No, that's not true. Bray Wyatt, suddenly everybody soured on Bray Wyatt. Come on, man. The amount of money that guy made on the merchandise, it's a ridiculous statement to make. But Adam Cole damaged Karrion Kross in that promo so bad, WWE did not give Karrion Kross the time to repair it. Period. That's on WWE, in my opinion. But what I was going to say is that I feel bad for everybody who was let go. But if I could be a little selfish for a minute, the four people that I feel bad about the most, Karrion Kross and Scarlett, Keith Lee and Mia Yim. Because they both got engaged. You're trying to prepare for your future. You think you have what it takes to be stars. and you start planning your future, and then not only does one person lose their opportunity, both lose their opportunity. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm not reporting news. I am just giving you an opinion. I'm giving you an opinion. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, but it just keeps coming to me. Remember all the reports that were wrong about Keith Lee? Oh, he was pulled from this pay-per-view because of this. Oh, WWE didn't know what to use with him, so they kept him home. But meanwhile, he was in a life-threatening situation. Remember all those fake reports that were wrong? Not even apologies for those people that were grossly wrong. But you remember when people kept asking me on these shows, I said, look, I hear it's a serious health issue, but I don't know exactly what it is. And it's disrespectful for me to come up here and to try to guess the specific health condition. But, you know, if he wants to reveal it, he will. And then we learned what happened. The COVID, then the heart ailment. I wonder if WWE is still very, very nervous about his health. Being honest. Because when he first came back, do you remember that first match he had when he came back? And I said, remember when I said, you look at his face, his pigmentation, and I'm not talking about black or white. I'm just saying like his face, it looked like just blood vessels rushing to his face. I think a lot of you remember that night. Something just physically didn't look right with that. And I think as time went by and he got his legs back from underneath him and his circulation, and he just got stronger and stronger, I think that went away. But I wonder, the match, Vulture, props to you, my friend. Props to you, Vulture. He remembers it. The match was 20 seconds. Keith Lee was having dark matches that lasted a minute or two because they wanted to ease him back in. They didn't want him to have 5, 6, 7-minute matches because of how he was life-threatening issue. You look at a man that size, and he had that issue, and I just think you can't help in the back of your mind but be a little concerned, like, what if he's not 100%? What if something terribly goes wrong in the ring? He had that one match with Karrion Kross and won. Remember that night where he beat Karrion Kross on Raw and everybody said, oh, that's Keith Lee's last match. He's going to be gone after that. Now, who would have ever thought that he'd be released this quickly after that? But the point is, I wonder with Keith Lee if somebody is just a little bit concerned about his health. It's going to be interesting to see what Keith Lee does with his career from here. I hope to God that he is 100%. But I wonder if there is something with a concern that is part of the reason. I don't know. And I'm just being honest because I can't understand. You do the whole Bearcat thing, and I defended it from day one. Again, I'd rather see someone have maybe kind of like a gimmick, but if they're being pushed to the moon, that's what freaking matters. I didn't care, that they calling a Bearcat, he's clawing. Yeah, it's a little goofy. But for little kids, yes, it's part of WWE's programming is for family entertainment. So what happens, everybody? What happens? For all of us that are a little bit older, you got a niece or a nephew, and they come over to your house or you go over their house for Thanksgiving or something. You sit on the couch and they got some goofy cartoon on from Nickelodeon. And you're looking like, oh, this is freaking stupid. But the kid is glued, loves every part of it. And you're like, I'm too old for this. It's stupid. It's corny. It's this and that. What might be corny for you and I might not be corny for others. So sure, some of, what we saw looked a little ridiculous. But that's what you got to take with WWE. Should be no surprise to anybody out there. Eva Marie. I'm a little surprised. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little surprised. Not just that she was released. I'm a little surprised at how many of you out there have not either paid attention to what Mish and I have been saying, or maybe you just weren't tuning in for a while. We've been saying for about 2 months, maybe even longer than that Eva Marie was brought in pretty much when they were first coming back from the pandemic. She was brought in to pretty much, remember we said that she'll, it'd be funny if she never wrestles at all. And then they did everything with Doudrop. Do you remember when Doudrop beat her? That night we said, that's it. Eva Marie's job is done. She had a rematch, got squashed. But Eva Marie, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. And I'm pretty convinced with this. You're going to find out that Eva Marie's contract was never anything long-term. She was brought in. She's starring in a movie right now. She's kicking ass in a movie. I heard nothing but great reviews about her work. She is an actress. When she said that the wrestling bug bit her again, people took it, I don't want to say seriously, but they took it way beyond seriously. How many people out there that were saying, oh, I have friends that are training with her and she's killing it. She's nailing it. You got to see what she's doing. People are going to be shocked what she does. It's not true. She was just doing the basics to take a bump or two, but that was it. There was never any intention for Eva Marie to return to be any type of a long-term wrestler. It's just not true. Eva Marie's job, she did it well, and her role was done. That's it. So Eva Marie can be brought back at any time and continue this. But once they did what they did with Doudrop, her job was over. And the sad part about it is, Doudrop hasn't had the greatest month since Eva Marie stuff was over. So you ask yourself, wow, all this that they did with Eva Marie, was it worth it? I don't know. But again, this is WWE. It's entertainment. Not everybody there is going to be brought in as a polished 5-star wrestler, 3-star wrestler. So Eva Marie will be just fine. And if WWE wants to bring her back for a segment or a skit or something, I think she would be brought back. So I honestly feel this is not the last you're going to see of Eva Marie. But for anyone out there to think that she was assigned to any long-term deal, everything that I was told was the complete opposite. And Mish and I have been saying that for at least 2 months. Okay, B-Fab of Hit Row. She was let go. Look, the street fight that she had with Elektra Lopez, I mean, if you go back to my review, it was not very good. It was not very good. But that's not necessarily her fault, because personally, I don't think she should have been put in that situation in the first place. WWE, once they brought them to the main roster, you now have to look at the overall roster and you say to yourself, if you have 3 guys and a valet, if you want to look at it like that. I know some people get offended when you say it like that, but you have 3 guys and a valet. Who are they going to go up against? Who are they going to go up against? Who is B-Fab going to interact with? And you really don't have much of anybody. In my opinion, I'm with a lot of people out there that, as a selfish wrestling fan, I want to make this clear, as a selfish wrestling fan, I would have rather seen Hit Row stay on NXT. The feud with Legado del Fantasma, I didn't like it at first. Mish convinced me that it was good, and I liked it. But those guys, including B-Fab, that group, when they were called up, that's what you go gunning for. That's what your aim is. No matter how much a part of the social media world wants to say, like, nobody wants to go to WWE. Not everybody wants to be a wrestler where they're competing for 10, 15 minutes in the ring having stiff matches or high flying shit or whatever you want to call it. Some like the combination. Some wrestlers, I only have to cut a promo this week. Sure. No problem. I don't have to like really do, wrestling is more. If that was the case, Ring of Honor would have had 2,000 people at their shows back in the day outside of a WrestleMania weekend. Not everybody wants to just watch good wrestling. They want to see good storylines. I mean, I freaking love Eric Bischoff now. Keep bringing up episodic television when it comes to AEW. You and I have been saying that for 18 months. But there is a core audience of wrestling fans that don't want deep storylines. You give them entertaining match, work hard, good enough for me. That's cool. That's cool. There's all different forms of pro wrestling. When Ring of Honor first came around, it's all about honor, holding the rope. Well, Ring of Honor is more, it's not entertainment, it's wrestling. Remember Ring of Honor used to say that? No, we're about wrestling. We're not about entertainment. As long as your matches are predetermined and choreographed, you are entertainment. You're a different form of it. They're all fruits. One is grapes, one is apples, one is oranges, one is peaches, one is plums. They all look different. They all taste different. But at the end of the day, they're all fruits. They're all entertainment. Until your matches are not predetermined, you're entertainment, period. And there's different types of it. Some wrestlers do like the WWE style. They absolutely do like the WWE style. If you notice online, you ever notice that the people who report all the time that the locker room in WWE is very down right now? Sure, after releases, everybody's a little bit bummed about it. Sure. No question. That's common sense. But you ever notice that throughout the year, when people will make those reports out of nowhere, the current locker room is just very unhappy right now and just there's not a great vibe. Notice how most of them out there don't like WWE. You never see any big-time, big WWE supporters out there talking about, wow, this locker room, just they can't wait to get out of there. No, because those people want some of their favorites to leave WWE and go to the promotion of their choice. And that's not news. And that's sad. But B-Fab, I feel bad for because it feels like she never got an opportunity. She was not killing it in the payroll department. I personally think the reason why they let her go was because on the main roster, there is really nobody for her to really go at it against. I mean, I invite anyone out there in the comment section. This is not just a ploy to get you to comment. You comment if you want. I would never force anybody to do it. But you tell me if they would have kept her on the roster and they want her to compete in the ring, who's she get a feud with? Really, think about it. So unfortunately, when she went to the main roster, they don't want to keep them as a 4-person group because there aren't 4-person groups to go up against. If they would have put Naomi in the bloodline and they would have had the Usos feud with Hit Row, that's possible. But right now, that's not in the plans. You got Survivor Series. Then you got December. Then you got Royal Rumble. And then you got the road to WrestleMania. Where does that fit in? For a week or two? Is it really worth to pay someone 5 months of salary to get 2 weeks of TV and a storyline? That's why, like I say, I know there's a lot of shows out there that will just use emotion and hate on WWE and call them evil. They don't have a clue. And I want you to just remember, WWE Today reported their last quarter financials. And across the board, awesome financials. And you actually have people out there that are going to follow up with that saying that WWE doesn't know what they're doing. I'm not defending WWE. But you look at all those shows tonight that are going to use that WWE, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's a clown show. It's horrible. They're horrendous. Why would anybody want to work there? And then you look at those financials and you say to yourself, am I missing something here? I don't want to see anybody released. But again, I feel my job here is to try to explain a little bit further on the corporate side. Am I this master person in corporate? No. But when I went to school, I took up a lot of finance. I have my own corporation. I own a lot of stock and investments. Andrew Peck, welcome to the family, my friend. Much love. I own a lot of investments now, trying to prepare for my future. And you get these books in the mail, they're like this big. And I'm like, I don't read books. Yeah, but it's got all the financials. You need to know about this and forward-looking statement, this and that. And then I just browse through it and I see things that catch my eye. You know, that's what the corporate world is about. If WWE was still family-owned, yes, it's still owned by the McMahons, but it's a publicly traded corporate company now. If it was still privately owned, I think a lot of what you see would be handled much differently. That's why when people try to say, oh, look at Tony Khan and how he treats his wrestlers and look at WWE. Seriously, I know I said this at least 5 times in the last 3 years, but I'll say it again now. Imagine all of those investors investing tens of millions of dollars in WWE. Stockholders investing thousands of shares of WWE stock. And then you have Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, you know, any McMahon you want to come with, it goes on a conference call and says, we got 100 wrestlers on our roster. We felt because of the virus and the pandemic, we felt we should leave them all on the roster. But you're not using 1/3 of them. It's tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, but it was the right thing to do. You watch how fast they sell the stock. It's about the bottom line. When you see these financials go out in the corporate world and you look at all these finance, there's no but. WWE had record profits, but, or WWE had losses, but they kept their whole payroll. Oh, in that case, let me buy the stock. That's not how it works. It's not based on emotion. It's based on the bottom line. And again, you know, it's cutthroat, but that's what happens when you work for a $1 billion publicly traded company. I used to own Mark. I used to own WWE stock. I bought it when it first came out. I think I paid like $8 and change a share. And when I sold my stock, I think it was a little bit under $10 a share. I did not keep it for the long. I was not investing at that time. I bought the stock more like, oh, cool, you know. But then I was buying like little penny stocks at the time, thinking like, oh, maybe I can make some money and then, you know, go out and party over the weekend. You know, I'll just buy and sell. And now I'm realizing like, this kind of sucks. I don't want to wait 3 years to make $1. And I got rid of it. And again, when we talk about it this way, it's very, very boring. It's not emotional. SRH John, you know, good question. Somebody asked me this the other day. Do I think AEW will be a publicly traded company at some point? Anything is possible. My gut feeling, no. I don't think the Khans would make it a publicly traded company. I think if they were to sell the company in the future, it could be sold to a publicly traded company. You know, the Ring of Honor situation, I mean, you remember when you went to school? Remember the Cliff Notes or whatever it was? Like they would say, oh, you got to read a 300-page book. And I used to go to the bookstore and I would buy this yellow book that would be like 15, 20 pages. And supposedly if you read this 20 pages, you know what the whole 300-page book was. I realized that it got ripped off. But, you know, with the Ring of Honor situation, you don't need a 300-page essay from someone out there. What went wrong with Ring of Honor? It's very simple. You know, they're owned by Sinclair, and Sinclair doesn't see any big profits from that company. You don't see merchandise killing it. The pay-per-view buys is pathetic. You know, if these numbers were all that spectacular, they would be bragging to the world what the numbers were. You know, when somebody says, oh, their pay-per-view buy rate was 10 times what it was the month before, but they don't tell you what the buy rate is. Well, guess what? If my buy rate was only 700 the month before, and now I got 7,000, that's still not great. They don't tell you specifics. Now, on the flip side with Sinclair, when you hear people saying, oh, Sinclair's losing billions, that's why they got rid of Ring of Honor. That is such a ridiculous statement. The amount of money that they were spending on Ring of Honor is a tax write-off. Profit and loss, it's a tax write-off. Sinclair is basically looking at it and saying, why do we have this company? We don't see growth. We don't see, what do we benefit from it? They won't even put it, I think, on their own network or whatever it is. That's the truth. So when you hear Ring of Honor saying, oh, we're going to reimagine what Ring of Honor is, if in the current state, you can't get good pay-per-view buys, good ticket sales, unless it's WrestleMania weekend or you have New Japan happen to be in the neighborhood, what's going to be reimagined that suddenly Ring of Honor is going to, in 20 years of existence, that Ring of Honor is going to steadily draw 1,000 instead of 550? You think Sinclair wants to have Sinclair, obviously their expectations were higher. AEW, I personally don't think that it would go publicly traded with the Khans owning it. Anything is possible, but I don't see it. And honestly, I think they're better off. I think they're better off being a private company. Now, obviously, with a private company, private ownership, they don't have to tell you a lot of things. That's why you don't ever hear anybody talking about the specifics of the contract situation. Publicly traded company, you would have to reveal a lot of numbers. And, it'd be really interesting to see what those numbers are. All right, so we talked about Nia Jax, Eva Marie, Mia Yim, Harry Smith, Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado. Both extremely talented wrestlers. Used very comically in the WWE. It was feel good. It was feel good. Soulfly Bamore, what's up? Welcome back, my friend. The Lucha House Party has run its course. They don't sell crazy merchandise. WWE tried to utilize them a little bit more. They had a couple of spots on NXT not too long ago and actually did pretty good. But at this stage of the game, what do you do with them? It gets to a point, you can't keep having them cut a promo. It's our time. It's our time. Now we're going to make a difference. They've been there for a while now. I think Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik will do wonderfully. Whether they go to MLW, whether they go I guarantee you will see them have at least a minimum a dark match and one match on Dynamite. I definitely think you'll see Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik versus the Lucha Bros. I think they will kill it. I think they will go to AAA and knock it out of the park. Those two guys can still do it. And, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They've wanted their release for a while. So, Fly, you're right. They wanted their release for a while because at the end of the day, they're not spring chickens anymore. And when you have that kind of style, you can't wrestle into your, late 40s. So, you want to go out with a bang, and they could still bring a lot to the table. So I think overall, they will kill it in AAA. And maybe they'll do something in AEW. The only problem is you may have to make Rampage 2 hours. You may have to make it 2 hours. In fact, I will make a prediction right now. Before the end of 2022, Rampage is 2 hours. You watch. They have so many people on that roster. You can't keep having factions of 8 people coming out every time. Matt Hardy has got a faction of like 95 people, the Dark Order and all these others. You can't keep just adding people to a faction. And the Nightmare Family, sorry, nobody gives a shit too much about Lee Johnson. Nobody cares about some of these people. It's a shame. Roger Rubio, what's up, my friend? So you got to start, trimming a little bit. But I think they would be great additions. Oh, Roger, I thought you just registered. He's 10 months tonight. He's a member. Awesome, my friend. Anyway, you know what? Before we go any further, for all of you out there who participated in the Finn Balor contest last week, and yes, I know some of you are going to be like, damn you, DT. If any of you out there wants to enter last minute, you just go to last Thursday's episode, post a comment in the comment section, and at the end of your comment, just put hashtag Balor. In 5 minutes, I will open up the program and we will live pick a winner, and somebody will win the autographed signed photo of the Demon, Finn Balor. Last week we were going to give this picture of Scarlett away. I guess because of the release, maybe we'll do that tonight. In the comment section, just write your comments and use hashtag Smoke Show. Because I think some people may misspell Scarlett. They might put 1 T. Some people may put 2 T's. So tonight, you write a comment, put hashtag Smoke. No, you know what? Put Scarlett. Whether you use 1 T or 2 T's, it'll be fine because the program I use, it'll pick up both. Hashtag Scarlett. We'll do that. Sasha Banks. Should we do the Sasha Banks one too? I know a lot of you want this one also. Should we do this one tonight also? Autograph photo of Sasha Banks. In the comment section, after you write whatever you want to write, just put hashtag boss. B-O-S-S. Very simple. Boss. Hashtag boss. Next week, we'll pick a winner for the Scarlett photo and a winner for the Sasha Banks photo. Now, just to let you all know, yesterday, remember the giveaways, the 3 giveaways we did for the Mandy Rose items? The gentleman who won the 3 unsigned photos of Mandy Rose, he said, you know what? Let someone else have it. So we'll pick another winner next week. You don't have to re-enter. We'll just pick someone new. So thank you, C-Med, for the kind words. All right, so 5 minutes, we'll pick the Balor winner. So if you didn't enter last week, you have time now. Go to the episode from last Thursday, write a comment, put hashtag Balor, B-A-L-O-R, and then 5 minutes. Who knows? You may win. Okay. Jeet Rama we talked about. Katrina Cortez we talked about. Trey Baxter. I know a lot of people like Trey Baxter. Trey Baxter, unfortunately, when you look at NXT right now, we got someone gambling, playing cards. We got someone acting like he's escaped a mental institution in Harlem, which he's killing it. You got Joe Gacy, which the name itself sounds like a mass killer. You look at everybody out there that are developing characters. I almost said Tony DeVito. Tony D'Angelo, hey, how you doing? Unfortunately, Trey Baxter, Ray Guns, thank you for the $2 super chat, my friend. He just saw the news of the releases. He is shocked. Yes, we are too. I mean, I was going to eat Goldberg cereal tonight, and I thought that was the catch. Then I signed the contract tonight, and I thought that was going to be the drag-in for everybody, and the whole night turned into releases. So maybe, should we hold off the cereal for Saturday? We'll wait. I'll give you all the choice. We still open the Goldberg cereal tonight, or maybe we make it Saturday. Because, Saturday we're not doing too much. Maybe we'll hold off until Saturday. I'm going to have to redo, obviously, the thumbnail today. It's not going to be fun for me to do a thumbnail and put 18 released wrestlers and make it look all nice and everything. So, oh, no, people are like, no, do the cereal tonight. Okay, you all want the cereal. Okay, we'll do the cereal. Now, I will tell you, if the cereal really tastes horrendous, I will taste it, but I can't guarantee that I will put it in a bowl with milk. Remember, I have milk down on the bottom. Milk is chilling. Gizmo's chilling. What more can I say? Top billing. That's what you get. Got it good. If you understood, would you do a dance? Yeah, I know all the lyrics. We used to go to clubs and used to scream that loud. So Trey Baxter, he didn't have much of a gimmick character that clicked with anybody. So unfortunately, Trey Baxter became expendable very quickly. And Trey Baxter exits. Someone else on the developmental side they will get an opportunity. I also feel with the draft, once the draft was done, I truly believe this also, and I think a lot of you will agree as well. I think once that draft was done, and then WWE looked at both rosters, and they said, who do we have Karrion Kross feud with? Oh, Riker? Bearcat. Who's he going to stick his claws into? Riker? I think that's what happened. Mia Yim never got that opportunity. You bring her on, what is she going to do? Is she going to beat Bianca Belair? No. Is she going to beat Becky Lynch? No. Is she going to beat Liv Morgan? Doubt it. Is she going to beat Dana Brooke? All day, every day. You got to, when you see some of these names released, I ask you, who would they have feuded with that would have led to some momentum? It's very difficult to break through. It's very difficult to break through. Oh, Harris, you're absolutely right. They release 18, they sign 30 more. They mean not 30, but you'll see within the next couple of months, they'll sign another 5, 6, 7 developmental. It's a cycle. They're trying to hit gold as quickly as possible with people. And if they feel that someone is not going to make, no pun intended, an impact, they're expendable. They're expendable. Everybody that wrestles on TV, has some type of a crowd reaction. Most. I know, everybody keeps going to Jackson Riker, and I'm sorry for keep mentioning his name, but there are very, very few wrestlers that are still on that main roster that get little to no reaction from the WWE fans. And that's the thing. They're not, the days, especially with how bad this economy is right now, it's those days of keeping somebody under contract for 2-3 years and taking their time, those days are gone for the foreseeable future. And guess what? I'd rather see some of these guys go to MLW, go to NWA, go to AEW, go to Japan, and fucking kill it. And then, like I said, a couple of years from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, somebody retires and you can't fill it with somebody from NXT. I guarantee you some of these people will be re-signed. They don't want to keep expensive contracts on the roster just to be sitting in catering or jobbed out. Period. You don't see any uber expensive people getting squashed. Zayda Ramier. She had that match with Saray, and that's pretty much what I remember of her. Ray Guns brings up a very interesting comment that will pop up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Who's next? Elias Balor? Absolutely not with Balor. If Balor's contract ran out and he didn't want to re-sign, okay, maybe. But Balor is one of the most over wrestlers on that roster. Balor just killed it with Chad Gable. I mean, a lot of us don't like how Balor's been used lately, but that guy is still money. Elias, I'd be a little concerned. The funny thing is, and I'm going to expose a couple of news sites. Did you see the news sites that reported early today that there were going to be releases? Just a couple. Just a couple. You know why they said that? Because they looked at the history of WWE with releases, and only once a year they have mass exodus. And as the year goes by, you see 1-2 people get released here and there. It happens every year. So when they saw somebody tweet early today, and I don't want to say the person's name because that's how everybody found out about it. Somebody wrote early today that freedom. And somebody wrote earlier today, WWE released me. And everybody's like, oh, we got it from our breaking sources. No, you read somebody's tweet. But they thought that was it. So they wrote, WWE releases coming, just a couple. Turned into 18. They didn't have a clue. Yeah, I'm still baffled about Braun Strowman, Mike. His contract was very expensive. So WWE just felt that they could do just fine without Braun Strowman and that hefty contract. I still think Braun Strowman will be back in WWE. And for all those people that said, you know, good, Braun, kick ass somewhere else, those people treated you like shit. When they re-sign with WWE, I dare those people out there to go to those people and say, what are you, stupid? You didn't learn the first time? You deserve to get treated like shit and released again. You deserve it. You don't see anybody doing that. They wouldn't have the nerve to do that. Oh, he blocked me. Zayda Ramier, unfortunately, when you look at the current women's division, where is she going to get her foot in the door? Enhancement talent. You don't want Zayda Ramier to be enhancement talent right now. She's got to develop and get better and become a star. Zayda Ramier, I think, does a lot better in another company. So Zayda Ramier, that's why she's gone. Jessi Kamea, I'm a little bit surprised also. Jessi Kamea is another one that, unfortunately, right now, you know, I'm like concerned for others like Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. Because once this little interaction with Toxic Attraction ends, what happens with them? B-Fab. I guess Sean KB is reading the same thing that Crazy Cruiserweight read someplace else. And you'll see why in 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Talk to me. Talk to me. It's coming. It's coming. It'll be here. Sean KB says some articles are saying that they were unvaccinated, led to their release. Apparently, Nia Jax is unvaccinated. Again, I said this earlier. We would have seen a memo, an email, a screenshot of something. If WWE went around and told everyone, look, Biden just passed this thing that if you're a big company, everybody's got to be vaccinated. So if you're unvaccinated, I honestly believe, Sean, that if that was true, I think some people would have been suspended without pay because they couldn't work for the company. Again, being unvaccinated could be part of it. But wait a minute. I'm not trying to single out Sasha Banks, but isn't Sasha Banks, was she pro or against vaccination? Because I remember her being the center of controversy. A lot of fans were going after Sasha Banks. Was she pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine? I'm curious. I never really paid much attention to it because I totally respect your views, whether you want to be vaccinated or not. I believe in the vaccine. I believe in having a little bit of protection. Saying that Sasha Banks doesn't help me. She was against vaccinations. Thank you, Supersonic. Supersonic. Remember that rap song? Blah, 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 Supersonic. She was against. Is she vaccinated? If she was such against vaccinations, did she get vaccinated? I don't know. Again, I think some type of memo or something would have leaked out by now. But that could be partly of it. Could be part. No, Supersonic was not Salt and Pepper. No, it was, oh, God, I can't remember the name of the group. JJ Fad, was that it? JJ Fad, yes. Thank you, Harris. Lady Posh. See, I know I'm this old white Guido, but I know my classic hip-hop. I used to blast that shit. Props. I love it that we could talk stuff outside. All right, let's do the Finn Balor contest, and then we'll wrap up the rest of the names. We'll take calls. I'll pop open the cereal box. Oh, I got the Samoa Joe. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Somebody is sending me an autographed one, so we might give it away. Did you know this existed? Samoa Joe? Samoa Joe. WWE and WCW had the bash and brawlers that would talk. Technology advanced. And if you look, I think, where does it say it? It's at look, up here. This thing has 15 phrases. It came out in 2007, Samoa Joe. And the freaking thing still works. You see the belt that says, push me, try me? Here, check this out.
You think you can take Samoa Joe?
How come every freaking item has got like a grunt in it? I don't know if it says, hey, what's in catering tonight? Ooh, sushi, ooh.
Time for the Katrina clutch.
Yeah. Time for some fruit punch.
Ah!
I got gas. I ate too much.
You're stronger than you look.
I'm stronger than I look.
Watch out, here comes a muscle buster. Ugh. Time for the Katrina clutch. Watch out, here comes a muscle buster.
It's supposed to say 15 things. I keep hearing 3.
You're stronger than you look. Time for the Katrina clutch. Watch out, here comes a muscle.
Fucking false advertising. It's like Jeremy Borash. Remember that? Oh, you guys were such a great crowd tonight. When I go in the back, I'm going to tell Dixie how great you were, and we're going to consider coming back and having a pay-per-view. Remember all those?
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
Remember, any of you remember that? Every time TNA would have a house show, there'd be like 60 people in the building. And I'm exaggerating. It would be like 150. And they would always do cool. And they would have like some autographs so you could take pictures in the ring with some wrestlers, which was pretty cool with them. But Jeremy Borash, after every event, if any of you out there ever get the opportunity to interview Jeremy Borash, please, for me, bring that up. After every event, he would say, you guys were so great and so loud. I'm going to talk to Dixie Carter. I'm going to see if we could come back here and have a pay-per-view here. And you would see that over and over, and fans would still buy it. They would give a report to Meltzer. TNA was in blah, 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 Michigan. And they said we were so great and loud, Jerry Borash is going to try to consider getting us back for a pay-per-view. I like Samoa Joe. I chucked it because if you look at it closely, I think somebody kept it stored, like sitting like in a litter box. It's all like brown and it's like dirt stains. I'm going to chuck that away. But when I get the autographed one, nice collectible, we'll put it up in a contest over here. So and I did not open up Kevin Nash's head yet, but we will open Kevin Nash's head and we will see what this thing has to say. Oh, I forgot to use my money thing. When we get super chats now. Somebody sent that to me. All right, let's do the ballot contest very quickly. Very quickly. We don't have to spend much time here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull on the screen. If anybody on audio only, I will announce the winner verbally as well. And just to show you that this is not a pre-recorded video, I'm going to put in the search channel, I'm going to put WWE releases in the top. You could see that. And you'll see, look, those are my episodes. Those are my episodes. So we would have to, we do something like this. Okay, we're in the search box. Just to show you that this is live. WWE releases Karrion Kross. Where am I ranked? I don't see myself. Well, that kind of sucks. I'm not ranked yet. Well, maybe because the show is still on. Look, not again. Where are you? Not again. Who is this guy? Oh, BC Amplified. He's good people. 18 wrestlers released, and we got a picture of somebody who is not released. I told you so. Yeah, JD was right. Get on the bus. Released. Somebody who doesn't know how to do thumbnails, but thinks he looks like Lince Dorado. This is gonna suck tonight. I gotta do the new thumbnail. But anyway, all right, so we're gonna pick a winner. Very simple. I'm gonna go over here, go to where it says pick a winner. This is from last week. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type hashtag Balor. Because remember, everybody who posted a comment, you had to put hashtag Balor. And when I click this green button, it's gonna randomly choose someone, and whoever it selects wins the Finn Balor signed photo. If you win and you decide you do not want the photo, you have two options. You could give it to somebody else, and you could pick if you want to give it to someone specifically, or if you want me to put it up for grabs again next week, I will. So congratulations goes to Sean Bedard. No, we got to do that. Nah, I'm kidding. Sorry, Sterling. But Sean Bedard. Wow, pretty cool, man. Sean Bedard, you are a winner. I think it's the first time he won. Sean Bedard. Congrats, my friend. You got the Balor signed photo. Remember next week, we'll give away Sasha. Remember hashtag boss and hashtag Scarlett. So we'll give those two away next week. And it's not rigged, Dream. I do this live because I try to be transparent. I know the way it looks goofy, but at least you know anything I do here. Authenticity is my most important part of these shows. I'm not a good liar, and I'm not going to be like a character and just like scream at the world and piss in the wind, because sooner or later, that gets old. So, basically what you see is what you get with me. I know what we talked about tonight might not have been the most exciting, but it's the most logical and it makes the most sense. WWE, are they evil for doing this? The corporate America, that might be the evil part of it. WWE is part of corporate America, and this is what happens. And these wrestlers know, and I'm sorry for sounding like I'm against them, but I'm not. These wrestlers know what WWE is all about, and they sign the contract anyway. They think that they could fit in. They think that they are so good that WWE would be foolish to let them go. They think that they can acclimate to the WWE style. They think that they have a fan following and their worth is enough that WWE would work around them. And in some cases, that is true. But it's very, very, very rare that people are not released. You look over the years, you don't have too many lifers. Once they sign, they're there, until they retire or, something else happens. But, people get released. It's what happens. And these wrestlers know what they're getting themselves into. And if they get released, whether it happens in January, June, October, whenever, it might come out of nowhere. I felt bad for Ember Moon today. She said, this was hilarious. And I know why she said it, but I'll let her talk about it in an interview. The timing was horrible. But even Franky Monet, a lot of them were not expecting it. But they know deep down inside that WWE history, anybody at any point can be released for any reason. And it's not necessarily because they're not doing a great job. It's just there's so many people ahead of them on the food chain that why would WWE keep me around, for another year when there's so many men or women above me? And these wrestlers know. I mean, obviously some are not prepared for it. Some are convinced there's no way they're going to let me go. And then you may say to yourself, wow, they let this person go, but they keep this person under contract. All right, finishing up the releases because we're almost done with them. Oney Lorcan. I'm a little surprised. I don't know what they're going to do about Danny Burch, but Oney Lorcan, a little surprised about. But, then again, if you look at Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch in the past, not big ratings killers. I don't want to start name dropping other wrestlers because it's so disrespectful. But without naming any names, if you remember some of the wrestlers, especially tag teams in NXT, that I've talked about over the last year and a half, there's a couple of wrestlers still on that roster that, you start thinking to yourself, wow, they must be next. But obviously WWE needs to replace them with someone else. So, we'll see what happens. Ember Moon we talked about, Franky Monet we talked about, and Scarlett Bordeaux we talked about. So that's a total of 18 released today. But please, in closing with this, and then we'll take calls for a few minutes, then we'll do the serial. In closing, I want to say this one thing. And this is probably the one comment that you read the most on social media. And most of you already know what I'm about to say, but you should be prepared and understand this. We've talked about this countless times in the past. When WWE says, we're letting you go because of budget cuts. Understand in the corporate world, budget cuts does not mean financial problems. That is where 90% of social media gets it grossly wrong. They say, oh, how could you use budget cuts? You just made $255 million. How could you say budget cuts? You just made $50 million in Saudi Arabia. How could you say budget cuts? Your stock is up $800 million in 2 months. How could you say budget cuts? They get it grossly wrong. Rocked. Thank you for the kind words, my friend. Thank you for your super chat. Keep up the good work. I'm trying. I'm having a ball. And as long as you all keep enjoying what I do, you know, I'm here. My fiance gives me permission. And I'm really excited to see what the next 2 years have in store. Thank you for that. But be prepared when you read those people say budget cuts, but they let all these people go, but they made all this money. They only think budget cuts means money problems. You think of you and I, if we have a lot of bills at home. Hey, honey, look, we got all this credit card bills. We got to cut the budget a little bit. We can't go out to dinner every week anymore. You know, that's what they think of. They think budget cuts means money problems. And that is so far from the truth. Budget cuts, the easiest way I could explain it is this. Let's say I'm a millionaire. And I make $1 million a year. And I have bills to pay. And let's say I'm old school and I take a book, a pad, and I write down insurance, $500 a month, cable, $200 a month, electric, $100 a month, gas, $100 a month, food, $600 a month. And I go down the list. And then at the end, I say, you know, savings, $2,000 a month. And then after that, I put $1,000 dinner or $1,000 recreational. I put out a budget, how I want to spend my money. Now, let's say I'm trying to prepare for the future, or I'm a little nervous that the economy could be going bad. I'm a little nervous I may lose my job. I'm a little nervous that prices for other things go up. So I want to start building a little bit bigger nest egg in case I run into problems later on. I don't feel so good. Maybe, I got to take some time off for work. So what do? I cut my budget. Instead of putting $1,000 to go out to dinner a month, I put $500. Instead of me spending $200 a month on clothes, maybe I put $100. That's what budget cuts is. So WWE 2 years ago had a certain dollar figure that they put aside for wrestlers' salaries. COVID hit. You have only Thunderdome. You're not touring. You only have X amount of time on TV. You don't have house shows. So now you realize we don't need 150 wrestlers on our roster. We only need 50. But COVID is not going to last forever. So instead of putting $150 million aside for wrestler salaries, we're going to cut the budget. We're only going to put $100 million aside for wrestlers. So we release a bunch of people. I know it sounds cold and it sounds terrible, but that's what corporate America is. You tell investors, stockholders, no, but why do you have a $150 million budget when you don't need all those wrestlers? Because it's the right thing to do. It's not how it works in corporate America. Most of those people on social media, with all due respect, the way that they talk with those emotional comments about letting people go during a pandemic or letting people go when you have $300 million in revenue, look at their backdrop. You don't see any of them working for corporate America. You see some of them that just podcast for a living. You see some of them that work in a grocery store. Nothing against that. You see some of them not working at all. You see some of them out there that'll tell you that they're the president of some fictitious company. They're not in a position to understand that. So everything is emotion, emotion, emotion. So when they cut the budget, that's because up until now, we put a budget aside for $80 million for wrestler pay. We want to cut that down to $70 million. We want to take that $10 million and we want to put it towards something else. Or maybe we want to just save it in case this economy gets even worse. That's what budget cuts are. Whatever amount that they used to put aside, they have reduced it. And as a result, they have released wrestlers. If the economy gets better and WWE keeps having crazy ass profits, then they may turn around in the next quarter and say, you know what, let's increase the budget by $5 million. Obviously, investors have to be happy with that as well. You know, when financials come out and then you see the stock, look at it like this, and we'll move on. WWE stock, take note, no one out there has been talking about this. I've been talking about it. How many shows have you heard them talk about this? The WWE stock in the last 12 months during COVID is up 59%. 59%, 60 something dollars a share, right around $60 a share. You remember a year and a half ago when it was like $38 a share? Why, if they're such a messed up company and they don't have a clue of what they're doing, how is it that their worth went up billions in the last year? At the end of the day, it's not about the internet wrestling community. It's about the bottom line. That's it. You notice all these sites, if the stock goes down 1%, breaking news, WWE stock dropped $3 today. But meanwhile, it's up $30 in the last year and nobody says a peep about it. I think Brandon Thurston, that does all those economic stuff, he's the only one I think that brings it up. When there's doom and gloom, everybody orgasms and has to make it breaking news. But over the last year, 59%, that's billions of dollars. And nobody talks about it because they want you to have that impression that WWE is dying. Remember that? We've joked about that. 4 or 5 months ago when they said WWE's dying, WWE's worth has gone up $1.5 billion since all those people that were saying WWE is dying. WWE is going to be sold. They're trimming all his roster. How many of you saw this today? They're trimming the roster because they're trying to get the bottom line nicer so they could sell the company. No mention of the economy. No mention that gas prices have tripled. No mention that meat has gone up 500%. No mention that buying a shirt has gone up $10. I'm sorry, Cruiserweight and everyone else that hate when I bring that stuff up. They don't mention that everything has gone up so grossly that that's why they're streamlining things. No, it's because they want to sell the company. Those are the people you got to stay clear away from, unless you want to tune in for a good laugh. So anyway, we already broke Vince's head in half. We already did the ballot contest. All we have left is the calls and the cereal. So let's take some calls. Now, again, I say this respectfully. The last show that I took calls, I asked, let's keep it quick. Whatever question you have, comment, let's just keep going through them. And 4 people took an hour. And, there was one person, I don't want to say who it was, but if you go back, I started preparing to put the show online because it just went from one topic to another topic to another topic to another topic to another topic. And I don't mind that. But, there's a lot of people trying to call in as well. So that's why starting next week or the week after, we're going to have a show. I don't know if you all saw this. Let me see if and look, this thumbnail was I just did this more out of just quickness. But we're going to do the sit down with yours truly. And the sit down means we're going to just have calls. So once a week, maybe on Sunday. I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be an afternoon show, but we will have a show that'll be nothing but calls. When the show starts, telephone lines are open. Whole show is nothing but calls. So I'm going to open the phone lines now. And, if you want to talk about who surprised you the most, anything that's on your mind, it doesn't have to be about the releases, but since obviously that is the topic for tonight, that's probably what we're going to stick with. So the call-in number's 833-366-8686 or 225-366-8669. Let's open the phone lines. Do not disturb is off, which means phone lines should open right about now. Take this off of mute. There we go. Here we go. Wow, I saw it pop up on the caller ID. Sean, what's going on?
What's up?
No, not much, not much. What's on your mind?
Let me say one thing first, because I don't take up too much time on my calls. What's up, James Pascal? I called in for you, fool. I had a question about Karrion Kross and Willie Mack.
Keith Lee.
I had a question about Karrion Kross and Keith Lee.
Okay.
Okay, I kind of know about Karrion Kross because I first saw him in Lucha Underground, and then I saw him in Impact Wrestling a little bit. What did he really do before then?
Well, as far as Karrion Kross?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not wrestling, that long. I mean, people will know him most notably from Impact Wrestling, but he also did some, brief time in MLW, did some work here in the Northeast. But Karrion Kross, I mean, if you go on YouTube, you could see some of his work, early in his career. But Karrion Kross has not been wrestling, a really long time. I mean, he got probably his biggest notoriety in Impact Wrestling, but he wrestled on the Northeast for quite a bit. We thought that he was going to end up having an extended stay in MLW, and that really didn't last all that long. Lucha Underground didn't last all that long either. I mean, he did a little bit in Mexico as well. But, Karrion Kross, I mean, look, he's not 25 years old, but he still has a very long career ahead of him. And believe me when I tell you, I'm not saying I know everything that he's going to say, but something tells me that he is better for this experience than not, because it's no secret that I know about all the issues with him with Impact Wrestling and all the money that they refused to give him, which was a pathetically low number. But even though that happened, it was a learning experience for him. It prepared him a little bit more when dealing with other people with business. What happened in this disarray with what happened, with WWE, this is going to only make him better and make him stronger. And he's going to look back on his stint, and he's going to, some of the reasons why it failed is beyond his control. Some of the other things, whether it's his promos, if he wants to add a little bit of muscle mass, if he wants to focus on more of the psychological part of it, but he now understands behind the scenes what the WWE machine is all about. You could read about it, you could hear about it, you could talk to your friends about it, but unless you are there and experience it, you really don't know fully. So this is going to prepare him for somewhere else. And, I truly believe that he may end up similar to Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was let go. A couple of years later, he came back, and he came back with a goddamn bang. I'm not just saying that because I'm friends with Mr. Kross. The guy is that good. So it's just, the stars were not aligned, but 1, 2, 3 years from now, if people think that the guy's going to say that he'll never go back to WWE, they're crazy. So he'll take this and he'll use this as a stepping stone to make himself even better.
Yeah. So can I ask my second question?
Sure.
And this is my final question. What did Keith Lee do before he came to WWE? Because I only saw him in NXT mainly.
Well, he wrestled in Florida. You look at Evolve and you look at some of those promotions. He wrestled in Florida. Believe it or not, if you go on YouTube and you just type up Keith Lee and look at some of his earlier work, Guy is, I mean, he's not wrestling that long either. I mean, but he really started to, cause like a big stink in Florida. I mean, he did a lot of indie work and did an awesome job. I mean, Keith Lee, you'll see a lot of what he does now is not much different of what he did before. But he's had some great feuds with some other talents, some in AEW, some in WWE. Keith Lee actually, you'll see his work and you'll see there's not much different. That's why, I will say this. Mick Foley made a really good comment tonight that he wishes that WWE or something like, he said that WWE keeps trying to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes when you have someone as good as Keith Lee and someone as good as Karrion Kross, and that presentation with Karrion Kross and Scarlett, yes, it may take 3 minutes to do, but sometimes you don't need to keep tweaking. Just let it be and build from it. And my God, Keith Lee almost being on his deathbed, if that's not an inspiring story enough to get people really behind him and, just get a little momentum from it, I don't know what will. But Keith Lee, he's got quite a few years ahead of him as long as he is 100% healthy.
Okay. So, yeah, you answered my 2 questions, and my closing comment is I guess I heard James Pascal and SoFly, they're going to be going to AEW soon. I don't know if you heard.
Yes, I did. One of them is bringing a DT sign next week, which is going to be freaking awesome.
And then a Tony Khan sign, I think James is bringing that one.
Okay.
But, yeah, catch you guys next time. Later, DT.
Much love, my friend. Be well.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't think that AEW would confiscate Don Tony signs for anybody that asks me. They're really not. I mean, unless you write something derogatory, I would not put like Tony fears Don Tony or something like that. You're just asking for it to get taken away. But all right, let me remove the do not disturb. If you want to call in 833-366-8686 or 225-366-8669, which is 225 Don Tony. I know a lot of you out there want to see the cereal. Wow, I'm really surprised how many people want to see me eat this cereal. So where's this do not disturb? Let's take this off. Hang on. Okay, so the phone lines are open. Let me know who surprised you the most as far as the releases. Quite a few of you out there were very surprised about Nia Jax being let go. Let me just reset this because I see this is frozen. So just give me 1 second. There we go. All right. Should probably connect now. No controversial signs. I mean, just, if you're going to put something for me, that's cool and everything. Good evening. You're on. Who's this?
Hi, this is Mark.
Hi, Mark.
From Brooklyn.
What's going on?
So, I don't know if it's like me, but, Nick Khan, he must be a secret agent for AEW. Because, now, I know probably he gets his orders from Vince, but he's the one, doing all these releases. This just the talent he released. I'm shocked that, first the Karrion Kross and Scarlett, and then, okay, I was upset about the B-Fab one, but, Keith Lee, and Mia,
yeah.
There's a lot of talented stars there.
Yeah, I agree. Nick Khan, look, I understand that a lot of people hate Nick Khan. I will say this. I'm a little surprised that, look, Vince McMahon has the final say, but I am really surprised how much of what Nick Khan suggests WWE goes with. I've heard other names that Tony Khan has suggested be let go that ended up not being let go. But the point is, Tony Khan, if anybody has ever looked, that the guy has a gigantic, successful background in the corporate world. And that guy has a knack of...
You mean Nick Khan, right?
Nick Khan. He has a knack of turning profit. And when they started streamlining a lot of the office, and then, they start realizing, why do we need 50 employees in 2021, with all the technological advances, we don't need 50 people in these departments. We can do the same work with 20. And they make the cuts. And then you realize, oh, shit, yeah, we can. And then he says, why do we have these wrestlers just sitting in catering pretty much? Put them on 205 Live. Put someone in a dark match. Put someone here. Put someone on main event. Let's use these wrestlers. They're making money. Why are they making money sitting and doing nothing? And then when it comes to releases,
of just, releasing them and leaving them basically open for AEW or any other wrestling organization out there, but AEW, they're number 2, leaving them open for AEW to come snatch them up and even have more talent.
So
it just it's astounding to me. It's just it's not. It doesn't make sense.
It does make sense when the stock is up 60% in a year. When their stock value went up over $1 billion in the last bunch of months, when their latest quarter has $255 million in revenue, and you look at, they remember how I always say that the demos only matter to the wrestling companies, the networks, and the advertisers. I don't care how much social media cares about it. The areas I just said, they're the ones that matters. And when it comes to a lot of these wrestlers, WWE, Nick Khan, and everyone else, he's got people working for him. Give me a graph of what this person has done on the main roster in the last 6 months. And you look down this list. Nia Jax, they haven't really been doing much lately. Eva Marie, we already talked about her contract, but you look at Mia Yim, Harry Smith, Karrion Kross, Jeet Rama, Katrina Cortez, Trey Baxter.
Let me tell you something about Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross was already dead in the water from the moment they debuted him on Monday Night Raw without Scarlett, him losing to Jeff Hardy. I mean, I was not interested in Karrion Kross after that. Even his new outfit, every time he would come on, I would just, web surf or do something else. I mean,
that Nick Khan looks at that
from the start.
WWE looks at that
from the start.
WWE looks at that. If you notice, I mean, again, Keith Lee, I think it may be concerns about, he will probably tell everyone, look, everybody, I'm 100%. But remember, WWE still had reserves about Daniel Bryan after Daniel Bryan was cleared to wrestle. WWE had reserves about others who have been cleared to wrestle. So you look at this list, nobody on that list was tearing it down or knocking it out of the park, not only on TV, but online as well. And there's really nobody on this list, that really was, getting a push, getting good momentum, good feedback online, good praise, good following, this and that. Everybody comes out of the woodwork once somebody is released.
Because I blame WWE booking.
Of course.
The booking is terrible.
But that's their formula.
There's a reason why there hasn't been a lot of new stars that have, basically, you got Roman Reigns, but there hasn't been a lot of new stars. But the WWE, when these guys come to the main roster, you look at Karrion Kross. Look who he was in NXT with Scarlett. He comes to the main roster. You don't debut with him with Scarlett.
Yeah.
It's like he comes out, no reaction, whatever. I mean, he's bland as ever. He was already bland from the start.
You know what's going to happen? Same thing like some other wrestlers, like Malachi Black and a few others. Miro especially. Miro and Malachi Black are two great examples. They will turn around and they will turn this negative into a positive. It's not the end of the world. It's not like their careers are over. It's not like they can't come back. It's not like that another company can't snatch them up. It's not like they can't get any better. It's not like they can't reinvent themselves. They have a future ahead. And
do you think Karrion Kross will go back to TNA, or do you think?
Hard to
say.
Where
do you think he's going to go?
It's hard to say. I think Karrion Kross. I tell you the truth. I'd like to see him get a stint in MLW.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see him in MLW. I think MLW would be a better fit. In AEW, I don't want to see him cut a promo, then wrestle once every 3 weeks, and then just have meaningless matches or fantasy matches that we would like to see happen. Oh, my God, I would love to see this person fight this person. And then what happens a month later when that person is fighting nobody? So I think MLW would be a great fit. I think MLW would be the perfect fit for Karrion Kross right now.
And what about Keith Lee? What company do you think he's a perfect fit to be at?
Well, I got to see, if he is 100% healthy. I think Keith Lee, I think he would be great in AEW, but I'm afraid because AEW does a pathetic job with super heavyweights. So I would say Keith Lee might be better off in NWA. I don't know if NWA would really be able to pay him the way they could. Impact Wrestling, if they could get some momentum, I think Impact might be able to do something with Keith Lee. Other than that, look, GCW is a name that's starting to get a hell of a lot of popularity, and GCW has been more underground than anything else. I could see GCW picking up some of these wrestlers as well.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah. I mean, they're independent. They don't have a TV deal, but I'm talking about the wrestling companies that have a TV deal. It would be better, like you said, Karrion Kross to MLW, Keith Lee, whether it's AEW or Impact or MLW. It would be better for them to go to the companies that people can watch, so that they can really reinvent themselves and pretty much for a brand new start, and and
look,
show people.
They again, I would not be surprised if some of these talents are back in WWE in a year or two.
Yeah, with Karrion Kross, I don't know. I mean, they WWE dropped the ball on him so hard that I don't see how I don't see how he can come back. And if he does come back, they have to pair him up with Scarlett. That was the biggest. That was the biggest blunder they could have ever done.
They had nobody to really feud him with on the main roster.
Huh?
I said they didn't have anybody really to feud him with on the main roster. What, Jeff Hardy? You know what I mean? It's
Jeff Hardy, who beat him. I mean, who he got beat by Jeff Hardy. That right there. First time, and then, but he wasn't doing much. I wasn't, surprised. Really, I thought he was going to be released eventually, but I'm just saying how badly they dropped the ball on him.
Yeah, and some of the wrestlers that are on the main roster now approach the end of their contracts. I don't want to start individually pick names, but people think, oh, Kevin Owens is going to leave, Finn Balor's going to leave, this person's going to leave. Well, if some of those wrestlers do end up leaving, if some of these wrestlers out there are on some great momentum and they're available, would not surprise me if WWE brings them back. If Zelina Vega could come back after everything with the union stuff and everything, anybody could come back.
Yeah, I agree. It's
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. All right, my friend. Have a good night.
All right,
thank you for calling in, Mark. Be well. Hey, great points. Great points. Yeah, a lot of you out there were liking that he was challenging me. Look, if we could book everybody perfectly, then we should be working for these wrestling companies, right? I think some of these wrestlers will do just fine. And honestly, if some of these wrestlers would have stood on the WWE contract, really, what would they have done? You look at everybody that was let go. Nia Jax was probably the one that was being used the most out of everybody. Seriously. Right now, they're trying to focus on the stars that they have right now. And with everything coming up, a lot of these wrestlers, if they would have stood under contract, they would have probably done next to nothing. So I know, again, I don't want to see anybody released, but that might be the best for a lot of them. So, it is what it is. But let me remove the do not disturb. There we go. 833-366-8686 or 225-366-8669. We're at 2 hours and 13 minutes. I knew we were going to go a little longer today because of the releases. Obviously, this was a topic we were not planning on talking about. So, we'll take a few more minutes of calls. If not, if we talked about everything, I'll get into the serial right now. We'll do the serial and we'll call it. So, the last opportunity. Everybody's saying now, get the cereal, get the cereal, get the cereal. Miz doesn't have to go. Miz has got a lot of value in that company. Miz is probably one of their, I don't want to say MVPs of that company, but Miz is doing a great job. Morrison, I'm a little bit concerned about. Did anybody see that picture of Austin Theory taking a selfie in the UK after beating Morrison? You look at Morrison, his eyes look crossed. He looks all baffled. And now his significant other was let go from WWE. I wish they would have do a better job with Morrison. Hey, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, DT, it's Xander Elion calling.
Hey, Xander, what's going on?
Hey, nothing much. I was enjoying the show. Just wanted to chime in for a minute. So I got a chance to listen to that investor call earlier. Didn't get to hear the whole thing. But it was kind of, I guess, funny, tongue-in-cheek funny. Stephanie, she came on, and she starts off by saying, unfortunately, I've got some bad news. The Miz was eliminated from Dancing with the Stars. And you can hear like a cringy little laugh in the background as she said it. I was like, oh, man, they're heartless. No, but seriously, though, I like the comment that you made just now. Speaking of Nick Khan and efficiency. So when I think of that, I think of something else you also mentioned, automation. This is going to be kind of a detour away from wrestling, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. As technology continues to progress and workforces continue to get shrunken down to save money, be more efficient, do you think we'll ever exceed a tipping point? Do you think we'll ever stop and pull back because we're becoming too reliant on technology?
Yes, we'll definitely pull back here and there. I will say this. I've kind of brought this up before. I have been fascinated watching videos in Singapore and Japan and even China. What fascinates me is there is a YouTube channel. If anybody wants to check it out, it's called Dancing Beacons. It's basically an Asian couple that just eat. They just go out to eat everywhere. And, some of the videos are funny and this and that. But the thing is that what I noticed is, especially in Singapore, they have like little delis and bodegas that you walk in, there's not one employee. They have computer technology with everything infrared that you zap your payment card when you first walk in, and then you walk around the store, and then whatever you decide you want to buy, you put it in your bag, and you just walk out. And the computer scans everything. You don't have to stop and, like self-checkout lines. You just walk out, and everything is already computed. They went to a restaurant where everything in the restaurant was nothing but vending machines. You can make pizza in a minute and a half, burgers, sushi, sandwiches, French fries, everything you think of. And as you watch this channel, you'll see streets. And on every street corner, there's a vending machine. Oh, you could get popcorn right now, cotton candy, sushi, sandwiches, whatever it is. Hot food, cold food, breakfast. Subway has a vending machine that you just push a button and a sandwich pops out. You push another button and dressings pop out. And over there, they even have a hotel that there's almost no employees, that there's just robots that deliver towels and foods and stuff like that. Overseas, they've been basically doing that. Almost every McDonald's, Burger King, you walk in and the menu, you just push all the things you want. You zap your card. They have people obviously preparing the food, but just by having that machine, they don't have people behind the counter. Hi, welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order? And taking the money. So it is more advanced over there. That is going to come eventually to the United States. But the thing is that a lot of people with their own mom and pop businesses, they would always have hands-on workers. Some things would be automated without a doubt. As, a lot of these states make minimum wage too expensive. If you have 10 people working in your store and then you raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour, $15 an hour, well, guess what? Everybody in that store is not going to be like, woohoo, we're making $15 an hour. No, that owner of that store is going to be like, look, I got to let 2 of you go. So now 8 people have to do 10 people's work because I can't afford, or they can't afford it. So there's going to be some automated here and there to basically save costs, not only on salary, but on insurance, workers' comp, disability. You know, I insure contractors, and their workers' comp insurance for a small little contracting business is about $15,000 a year. So if you could automate any of it and you could get rid of 2, 3, 4 workers, that's thousands of dollars you save just on insurance, not including pay. You have everything automated and you don't need someone to operate anything. That's pay you don't have to pay, if that makes sense. So it'll get to a certain degree, but it'll never take over.
Yeah, not to harp on too long about it, but it's kind of troubling. I know there's such a thing as human error. The machine errors tend to be a little bit more troubling, especially when you have, these self-driving cars and people abuse that, and you have accidents and things of that nature. And it's interesting times we're headed for.
Yeah, self-driving cars will never... Self-driving cars will never be the majority here, because a self-driving car could never have instantaneous reaction to someone who is intoxicated behind the wheel, or someone that just something, that's beyond someone's control. I mean, there's always going to be, it'll get automated, maybe the park, maybe little things here and there, but even just a malicious intent with road rage and everything else. Could you imagine all the, I saw someone do it already, that they were on a road and there was a self-driving car and the car was driving the speed limit and everybody else was trying to go faster. And what they did was they boxed this self-driving car in and they fucked with it. And they just went to like 5-10 miles an hour. And you see this self-driving car, like trying to like change a lane and stuff, and was boxed in. And there's people out there, with sinister intentions. They'll try to run it off the road. They'll just fuck with it. It'll never be fully automated, but there will be more conveniences.
I hear you. If you ever do get a chance, you're probably familiar with it, but there's Boston Dynamics, and they do lots of testing with these robots and whatnot. And just seeing the feats that they're able to accomplish, all I can say is apologize for dropping your phone every time you do. Apologize for letting the microwave run for too long. We might be countdown to these appliances at one point. But thanks for taking my call, DT.
Much love, my friend.
Everybody listening, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. DT, you're the man. Thank you,
my friend. Have a good night. I want to just say something really quick, everybody. That channel I just told you about, they have a supermarket, regular supermarket. And in the supermarket, they have like a booth where you can have an omelet in the supermarket, and everything is automated. And it actually is a robot that breaks the egg, puts it in a thing, grabs a tool, scrambles the egg, puts it down, grabs the oil, puts it in the thing, puts it back, puts the thing. Everything is a robot. Bartending, to me, is the future. Especially again in Singapore, all of these bars have robots doing the drinks. Above in the ceiling, they got 100 different bottles of what you want. You go on a keypad, you type in the drink you want. You want a Manhattan. You want a screwdriver. You want a mind eraser, whatever it is. You put it in the thing, and then what happens, you see this arm go to the top, gets a little liquor, goes to the other one, gets a little liquor, goes down, and actually goes like this, shakes the drink, pours it in a glass, everything robot. Telling you, that channel, and I know why a lot of people will like that channel. That's all I'm going to say. My fiance gets mad when I watch that channel. She's like, why are you watching them again? I said, because I'm fascinated with the technology. She's like, no, you're not. You're watching it because the woman's got big tits. I'm not kidding either. Not everybody's going to be like, not everybody, but. All right, let's open the phone lines. It's called Dancing Beacons. They make crazy money. All they do is eat. They get millions and millions of views. All they do is fucking eat. And I showed my fiance, I'm like, honey, this is how much I make on a YouTube channel. And she's like, that's not a lot. I said, okay, that's what, 5,000 views. I said, now multiply that by 200. And then you're like, oh my God, they make millions on YouTube. I don't know, maybe overseas, maybe the pay is a little bit different. It's crazy, but you'll see some insane technology on that channel. I'm fascinated by it. And you know what I find fascinating about Singapore also? So much of it is in English. I mean, I'm amazed how much of what's in Singapore is in English. People talking in English, things written in English. And when things get a little bit safer, seriously, I think I'm going to put Singapore on my bucket list. I'm not kidding either. So anyway, let me open the phone lines again. Having a good show. We don't have too much time left. Don't forget, I'll be here Saturday, 8:05 p.m. And I don't know, maybe we'll do a test run Saturday of the sit down. We'll see. But I'm excited. We'll talk more about the contract stuff. I'll give you a little more details on Saturday. I didn't want to talk about it today. I thought it was a little bit wrong with so many people being released. Again, when I posted that announcement on Twitter earlier, that was about an hour before we learned of the releases. So, I didn't want it to look negative because, somebody bragging that they signed a deal while everybody else is announced that they lost their job, it doesn't look good. And I didn't want to be funny about it either because somebody told me, DT, go on social media and write breaking news. I have not been released. I'm like, you stupid. I think some people intentionally wants me to sabotage. All right, why am I getting freezing over here? We may have to cut the calls. Let's see. I'm resetting the do not disturb. Give me 2 seconds. This goes through. There we go. It's on. It's off. All right, let's see if it connects. If not, then we'll pull out the Goldberg cereal. We'll check it out. I hope there's no holes in the bag because I watched like some of those videos of the Beast and others, LA Beast, eating the old cereal, and you look at it and there's like pinholes. I guess like bugs get through it. That's what Randy Orton was not released. Ricky Vasquez says Randy Orton was not released. You want the list? All right. All right. So this is freezing. I don't know if you could see it. It's kind of freezing over here. So I think we'll finish with the calls then. Sorry. But let me give you the list of everybody released. We have Nia Jax, Mia Yim, Eva Marie, Keith Lee, Lince Dorado, Harry Smith, Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux, Gran Metalik, Jeet Rama, Katrina Cortez, Jessi Kamea, Zayda Ramier, Trey Baxter, Oney Lorcan, Ember Moon, B-Fab of Hit Row, and Franky Monet. 18 released. Sad. Oh, before we do the cereal, I told Charlie I was going to put this up yesterday. So here in New York, we have new mayor, the second black mayor ever in New York, Eric Adams. And I know some of you have seen this already, but that's kind of small. My father actually ate dinner with Eric Adams about a month ago. So that is my father on the far right, hanging out with our brand new mayor, Eric Adams. And it's interesting because, a lot of people voted for Eric Adams, who's a Democrat, and also voted for Republicans. A lot of people, you'd be surprised. So Eric Adams. But here in New York, in my neck of the woods, and I'm just going to be brutally honest, we had a woman running for councilman. Her name is Joanne Ariola, Italiano. And she was going up against a woman, I don't remember her name, but she was Indian. Now, whoever won this race would represent my neighborhood of Howard Beach, Ozone Park, Richmond Hill, Woodhaven, like 5 different towns. And Ozone Park has a gigantic Indian representation. You and I in fact, I showed some of you not too long ago, me driving from my fiance's house, and I go through a neighborhood that is nothing but Indian. Everything is Indian. And a couple of weeks ago, everybody in my neck of the woods was saying Joanne Ariella has no shot, because everybody, in the neighborhoods that were Spanish and Indian, they were all going out of the woodwork to vote for this other person. And AOC, I know a lot of you know who she is. She lobbied for this woman as well. Well, it ends up my father is good friends with Joanne Ariella. My father was personally invited to go to her concession speech on Tuesday at a certain place. I don't want to say the venue. But so my father's like, I don't want to go. It's 9:00 at night. What is she going to do? Give her concession speech? Like, he's saying, I don't want to go. And, the other people like, no, you got to go. She personally invited all of us, this and that. I had the opportunity to go, but I wasn't going. I had to do a Patreon show and I was too tired. So anyway, my father goes on Tuesday and lo and behold, she fucking won. She won. That's my father with Joanne Ariella. And if anybody out there ever watches the local New York channel over here, I don't know if the YouTube video is up yet, but if you look at her celebration speech when she won councilman, my father is right there. He's all over the camera, and it's pretty funny. He's doing okay. He's got his moments that were very, very concerned. Like he pushes himself too much. He went to Home Depot about 2 weeks ago, and they literally had to put him like in a place where he could lay down. He just started getting lightheaded and dizzy and tired. His heart is not strong enough yet to be doing the things that he does. But, he's trying to live his life as normal as possible, as my mom. But, yeah, he's doing good. So, Eric Adams, he's dining with. And, Eric Adams is a Democrat and Joanne Ariella is a Republican. So my father's got the Midas touch. But it's funny. I'm going to put the video up here as long as I don't get hit with a copyright. But if you look at her speech when she won, you'll see my father all over the camera. And my father, you can see like he's looking at the camera and it's pretty funny. Trying to like tighten his stomach so he doesn't look fat. My favorite Italian food, George, right now I'm on keto, but I'm seriously looking into going off it soon. But let's just say I could eat whatever I want. Eggplant Parmesan. Eggplant Parmesan is my number one. I love lasagna, stuffed shells, baked ziti. I'm a pasta guy more than anything. But eggplant Parmesan, top of the line. Does pizza count as a pie? Well, if you buy a whole pizza, they call it a pizza pie. I think Chicago pizza is more like a pie because of the deep dish. I think pizza is not necessarily pie, and I think pie, like bakery. I tell you the truth, Ricky, I don't think Trump is going to run in 2024. I don't think he's going to run. I think somebody's going to run that he heavily supports, but I don't know if Trump's going to run. And if he does, I don't know if I'm going to vote. I didn't vote last year. I voted this week, but I don't know if I would vote for the presidency again. I don't like where this country is going. And honestly, I just try to concern myself with having fun, laughing as much as possible, being happy, try to uplift some others as well. And, I'm getting married in September, which I'm looking forward to. And that's been pretty rough because, I'm trying to pay this wedding all by myself without my parents helping a penny. So far, I haven't asked them for a penny. So far, so good. But, and that's why I'm kind of working my ass off with the shows also. That's why when this network approached me and they're like, hey, big fan of your show. You never brought it up. You have any agreement with anyone? I'm like, no. What do you mean, no? I'm like, no. Would you like to be part of our network? I go on there and I see the shows that are on there. I'm like saying to myself, does this guy have the right person? Because when it's announced, it's not a gigantic network. It has about 150 sports shows. It's only sports. But when you see the network and you see the handful of wrestling shows on there, it's going to be ironically hilarious. I promise you, because some of you are going to see 2 shows in particular and going to be like, I can only imagine their reaction when they see that I'm on the network with them. It's going to look, the only way I could describe it, and when the announcement is made publicly and you all find out about it, and trust me, I'll let you know. Remember when I say this. Do you remember Maven? Remember Maven from Tough Enough? There was a match once when Maven teamed up with Evolution. And at that time, it looked so ridiculously out of place that you had Evolution, all these legitimate stars, and then you have Maven with them. When you see my show right smack in the middle of these others that are on there, it's going to look like Maven around Evolution. The only difference is Maven was good looking and I'm not. It's pretty funny. But I signed the contract tonight and it's a done deal. Once I get my copy back, I bought insurance today. I should rephrase that. I increased my E&O insurance. I have insurance that if any of you son of a bitches ever try to sue me saying that I slandered you or I, hurt somebody, with my mouth, I have insurance for it. Take care of it, insurance company. Here's a cereal. What are they doing? Oh. Goldberg. All right. Shout out to Marty, who said that he has this box of Goldberg cereal since it came out new in 2000. He said it's been sitting on his dresser all this time, room temperature, no extreme temperatures, no warehouse, no garage, no sun, no dirt, no nothing. He says he doesn't have bugs. He says that he hopes, it's never been open, obviously. He hopes that the cereal is still good. The expiration date on this box is, almost my birthday. Oh, my God. Wow. Check this out. Can you see it? Look at that. This cereal expired the day before WCW went out of business. Look at that. March 25th, 2001. This cereal expired the day before WCW expired. Go figure. You couldn't see it? All right, let me put it closer. I know my hand's shaking a little bit. Let me see. You see it now? See it? Best Buy, March 25th, 2001. Let me see if I could lean it. Okay, yeah, I can lean it. Here. Yeah. That's funny, man. This cereal expired the day before WCW expired. All right, let's look at the side. Hey, test your IQ. What does this say? What was the first national park? Does it give you the answers? Does it even give you the answers? Look, it's got like test your IQ on the side. But I don't know if I see the answers on here. Why is this all this wildlife stuff? It's not even wrestling trivia. What was the first national park? The biggest living things in the U.S. grow in this national park. The bloodiest battle in U.S. history was fought in 1863 at this national military park. Why is everything about parks? This is the back of it. You can buy Goldberg t-shirts. Great stuff. Exclusive WCW merchandise. Special order firm. Oh, Combo. What's that video game? Combo. Get a hat and a shirt for $25. Yeah, those days are gone. It's pretty cool. All right, everybody's saying to eat it already. All right, let's open this box. Oh, I tore the box. I tore over here. Let's open the box. Okay. All right. I already see like something lingering on the top. That does not look good. The box smells like a deck of playing cards. The box actually doesn't smell that bad. Collector's box, Goldberg. Oh, wait a minute. I got the cereal right here. We could put this in the corner. Hold on. That's better. All right, this is the cereal. I'm looking at it. I don't know. The cereal looks darker than the box. I mean, obviously the box is always going to look a little bit nicer. Does Goldberg still autograph like that? I don't know if he does. But this is the cereal. I'm looking at it. I don't see any holes. Now, remember, I got a bowl. I got a bowl over here. Let's leave it up here. So, yeah, let's see. Let's leave. All right. Hold on. I don't want anybody to think like I'm going to swap bags or anything like that. We got brand new almond milk, unsweetened almond milk. So we'll put some almond milk. So anyway, I'm looking at the bag. I don't see anything. I don't see any holes. There's a lot of sugar on the bottom. What is this supposed to be? Does it even say, oh, sugar frosted flakes corn cereal. So the ingredients, milled corn, sugar, salt, malt syrup, high fructose corn syrup, sodium ascorbate, vitamin C, and a whole bunch of other shit. And then it says BHT added to packaging to help preserve freshness. So nutrition size 3/4 of a cup, 120 calories, 0 grams of fat, 28 grams of carbohydrates, less than 1 gram of fiber. Sugar is 14 grams. So about half of the carbohydrates is sugar. Now, me being on keto, obviously I'm not going to eat a whole bunch of this. I don't want to get knocked out of ketosis because of it. Then I'll sleep like shit tonight. But what we'll do is, you know, I'm going to leave it here. Again, I don't want anybody to think like I'm like switching it. Let's open the milk first. Let's open the milk first. All right. The milk is open. I'm the only one that drinks almond milk. Ah, that's good. It's still cold. Okay. So here's your almond milk. Put that there for now. All right. I'm going to open this up. Let's see how this smells. 21, almost 22-year-old cereal. Oh, my God. I swear, I'm not trying to be like over dramatic here. It smells like playing cards and something else. DT Beast. I'm the DT Beast. Have a good day. I'm trying to figure out what this smells like. It doesn't smell like Frosted Flakes. It smells like cardboard, but playing cards, you know when you open a fresh deck of playing cards, that smell? It smells, I don't know. All right. I'm gonna try one. We'll try one. All right, right? It's not very sweet. I don't know what the hell this tastes like. I mean, I haven't had sugary cereal in 3 years, but yeah. I swear to God, I taste a little sugar. It tastes like cardboard. It's stale. It's definitely stale. But this smell, I'm trying to picture what this smell is. You know what I think it is? Oh, okay. All right. Know what I think this is? For real. Anybody remember the episode where I microwaved the WWE popcorn from whatever it was, 2002? This smells like that bag. That bag smelled worse because it was hot oil and the wax, that smell. Remember how bad that room smelled? That's what this smells like. It smells like bad wax and cardboard. I don't know, man. I mean, like I've watched a few people online that eat old stuff and they tell you what to look out for and, certain burns and stuff like that. Out of everything that I've tried so far, remember that Undertaker gum, the little chiclets? After the show was over, I had really burning in my throat. And look, I still got the Listerine here. The next day I felt okay, but that kind of knocked me for a loop. So, all right, well, look, I don't feel anything weird right now. I mean, I'm not going to eat a lot of it, obviously, but this is my bowl. I have, if anybody is going to ask, this is a company called Silly Pint, SILIPINT. It's rubber. It's like hard plastic rubber, and you could microwave it. I love these bowls. These are my cereal bowls. Yeah, it looks like an NXT bowl. Yo, bust it. Whatever that rap song says. It does. NXT cereal. Holy shit. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, yeah, when my tongue was blue, too. All right. Obviously, I'm not going to eat all of this, but, I'm going to pour it in the bowl. I'm going to pour it in the bowl. I don't want to drop it anywhere. I don't want bugs in here. So when I do this in the future, I got to have another camera. I do have another camera, believe it or not. Check this out. Look. Let me see. Do I have it on? I don't have it on right now. I have another webcam, and I actually still haven't even connected my other one. I'm going to set up a second or a third camera so we have a different view. So this way, if I put it down, you could still see it. So anyway, all right. So I'm going to add milk because everything tastes better with milk. So this is the almond milk. Wow, if this fell right now, my keyboard would be fried. Okay. We got a bowl of 2001. Well, it actually was probably manufactured in 2000. I don't see the date, but it expired March 25th, 2001, the day before WCW went out of business. So anyway, here is your Goldberg cereal with almond milk. I'm trying to mix it to see how it is with the sugar. So, all right, we got, I don't know if you could see it. It's a full spoon. All right, here we go. It's stale. It tastes like cardboard. I smell that wax still. Oh, man. It smells like dirty panties. Don't ask me why I even say that. I don't know. It's got that sweaty smell to it. Like when my mouth still feels fine. I'm going to take a little sip of the milk. I'll take one more. I'll take one more spoon. I'll be tough about this. Look, I'll take a big spoon. All right. We'll scoop up a big amount. So here we go. Yeah. Look, that's a big amount. All right. Right? Here we go. I'm going to put it up here. You know what the weird thing is out of all of it? I don't taste the sugar all that much. Being on keto, hold on a minute. Oh, I don't know. Being on keto, if you even taste a little sugar, it tastes 1,000 times stronger than what it is. Once in a while, I'll have a couple of blueberries or strawberries, even blackberries, and it tastes too sweet for me. So usually when you don't have sugar for a long time, and me, it's been a couple of years, you have anything with a hint of sugar, it tastes powerful. This just tastes like cardboard, stale. It doesn't taste rotten. It just tastes like it's crunchy cardboard. I don't know. Honestly, I don't recommend anybody to do this. You know, they have a Bret Hart cereal from WCW as well. Now, I don't know anyone out there that has a box. I mean, I've heard of it, and I've seen the boxes before. I don't know if the Bret Hart cereal is the same type of cereal. Somebody wants to send me 1991 Ultimate Warrior cereal. Somebody also wanted to send me the Hulk Hogan Honeycomb cereal from, I think, 1992. So I don't know if I want to go back 30 years with cereal. I mean, I just tried cereal that was 20 years old, almost 21 years. Oh, it's like repeating on me bad. I don't know. Honestly, I feared worse. My biggest fear was that there was going to be holes in the bag or you saw bugs. I mean, if you look on the bottom, you see a lot of the sugar went to the bottom. But look, when people send me this stuff or they email me and say, hey, I got something, you know, if you want to try it, I always say the same thing. I'm like, look, just be honest with me. You know, how long do you have this? You know, was it stored away the right way? If, you know, if somebody says to me, look, you know, I got it, you know, as a collectible, I don't know where I got it, or, you know, all right, I got to proceed with caution. But, you know, one of our friends to the show, Marty, you know, he said it's been sitting on his dresser since 2000. He said it's just been sitting there. And he says that, you know, his house is normal temperature. He doesn't have bugs. Hasn't been stored away like in a garage somewhere. So, Marty, thank you very much. We just ate WCW cereal from almost 21 years ago. And the funny thing is, get this, I couldn't find one person on YouTube that ever ate the Goldberg cereal. I've seen people try other things, but I couldn't find one person eat the Goldberg cereal. So, yeah, we tried it. I'll let you know Saturday, you know, if anything feels funny after, but right now, I mean, it's just the taste in my mouth is kind of crappy. But, I don't know, very uneventful, to be honest with you. George, oh yeah, George, that's his son, Marty. Like I said earlier, every time I hear the name Marty, I think of Back to the Future. Marty. So everybody, I think we're going to call it for tonight. We're actually almost at 3 hours. I didn't mind it tonight because obviously we had to have a pretty in-depth, serious conversation about these releases. Yes, what we had tonight was a lot less emotional than a lot of others out there, but I hope that just having some common sense and being real about it, I hope that, you know, I was able to give you a little bit of a different perspective. You know, I think out of everything, the most important thing is these wrestlers should be fine. There's obviously some anger right now, bitterness, disappointment. For some of them, it's going to light a fire under their ass. Some may actually be happy that they were let go. But also, you know, with this idea about Evil Khan and Evil McMahon and everything else, you know, I remind everyone, this is $1 billion publicly traded company. Their stock is up 60% in a year, which is billions of dollars. They have generated over $800 million in the stock market the last couple of months when everybody else was saying that WWE was dying. The quarter financials that were just released had $255 million in revenue, in some areas, record revenue. So when you see all of that, you know, and then you have people say WWE doesn't know what they're doing. I'm not defending them, but it's very, very hard to back that up when you see everything that I just mentioned. This is the risk that these wrestlers take when you work for a corporate $1 billion publicly traded company. WWE has not changed their style in the entertainment world since the Attitude Era was over. since the Attitude Era ended in like 05 or 06, if you even want to go a little further after their version of ECW was done, we pretty much know what WWE does with their characters with TV. Creative, a lot of us disagree with a lot of the creative, but this is their formula. AEW is TV 14. WWE is TV PG. And that is a big difference. And we will get gimmicks, characters, storylines that for us older folk in different demographics, if you want to go there, we might find it ridiculous and stupid and corny, while younger folk out there absolutely love it. I think Nikki Ash might be a great example of that. Sometimes WWE wants to make people look like superheroes, like Stephanie said in the conference call today. Anybody notice tonight? Not one investor brought up AEW. Not one investor brought up AEW. Do you find that fascinating? When you see that kind of revenue coming in, would you be worried about AEW? That's why Tony Khan should not be worried about WWE. Tony Khan should concern himself with giving the fans the best product that they can. And if it does overlap WWE programming, whether intentional or not intentional, if your product is that good, your fans will choose you over WWE. I think at some point, and this is controversial, but I think at some point, Tony Khan is going to have to think about offering a product that is TV PG at times. I know that is controversial, but you are giving a product that is intended for young adults and adults and older adults. So when you have that family-friendly entertainment aspect of it not there, of course the ratings are going to be lower. Of course it's going to be lower. If AEW is content with that, then that's cool. But, if you're looking at trying to maximize your numbers, then obviously you're going to have to open up your product to a bigger audience. And some of that programming, yeah, it's so fly. A lot of people don't like what I just said. I didn't say I liked it. I'm just being honest about it. I mean, if I give you, a product that's, vulgar and nudity and everything else where, younger people cannot tune into it, period. Of course, my numbers will probably be lower because I don't have the entire audience out there that could tune into my product. So, it's just something that you got to keep in the back of your mind, especially when people out there insist that there is a war going on. Just worry about yourselves, what you want to watch. But anyway, let me know what you think. Don't forget, we got the Sasha Banks contest tonight, and we have the Scarlett contest. So in the comments area, if you want to participate in either or both, after your comments, just put hashtag Scarlett or hashtag boss, and you'll be automatically entered. And next week, we can take the Goldberg cereal off the screen. Next week, we will pick winners live like this week. And Nero Fade, thank you very much, my friend, for the kind words, congratulating me about the contract signing. Look, again, it's not earth-shattering. It's not going to be for like a satellite radio. No, it's not for Vince Russo, as somebody said earlier. But, getting a 14-page contract with some nice numbers included in there. And I will tell you this. I'll tell you this. I don't think I'm revealing too much. The minimum length of my shows, like the shortest shows, I have to guarantee them at least a certain number of shows a month, or a year, I should say, and a certain length. And the minimum length for my shows only have to be 15 minutes. So obviously we're not going to be doing 15-minute episodes really much ever. But the amount of shows that I have to guarantee a year, I probably would get done in 2 to 3 months. So my end is not going to be a problem. So, and as far as your viewing or listening entertainment, you really won't have to do anything different. Whether you tune in through iTunes or YouTube or wherever else, you pretty much will be able to do it the same way. but everything will be centered around one network, and then that's where it'll be branched out to everywhere else. You may not see live streams on Facebook or Twitter or Twitch much anymore, but as far as the YouTube and the downloads and everything else, that'll be pretty much the same. So anyway, I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but now my throat feels a little weird. It feels like thick. It's not phlegm from the milk, but it feels thick. It feels like something is off. So I don't know. But everyone, much love. If you haven't done so already, if you enjoyed the show, give it a thumbs up. If you know anyone out there that might enjoy the show, let them know about the channel. Like, share, subscribe. And if you're around Saturday night at 8:05, join me here. I'm sure we will have some to talk about. Rampage, SmackDown, any other news that breaks between now and then, some of your feedback. And, and we'll announce the winner of the Moxley book from yesterday with the ratings and anything else that transpires. So everyone, be well. Thank you as always, friends, and I'll catch you all again Saturday. Good night, everybody. That's funny. Didn't work. Now it will.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.